What about my love? Seems you have forgotten love. I do believe that something went wrong somewhere. What about my feelings? Do they mean anything at all? You got me so in love, I'm too blind to see. And that you got my love, now you wanna put me down. And that you got my love, got me standing on shaky ground. What about it, baby? What about the days and the nights we spent? What about the love we made so sweet? Are you sure you wanna live? Think it over, baby. 'Cause girl, I believe, I think you just might wanna change your mind. Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, got me standing on shaky ground. What kind of way is that to treat your man? When I gave all that I never had, you got me going through changes of life with you. Are you sure you wanna live? Think it over, babe. 'Cause girl, I believe, I think you just might wanna change your mind. Know that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, you got me standing on shaky ground. Yeah. Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. You don't come around. Now that you got all my love, and you got me standing on shaky ground. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Before you leave out the door, before you leave out the door, baby, won't you change your mind? Really wish you would change your mind. Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, you got me standing on shaky ground. Now that you got my love, you don't come around. Now that you got all my love, and you got me standing on shaky ground. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Oh my, I had a conversation with her. This is how it went. Before you leave out the door, mercy. 'Cause I need you and you need me. I know we can be happy. Just wait and see. Baby, won't you change your mind? I'll do better if you change your mind. Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, got me standing on, shaking. Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, you got me standing on shaky ground. Baby, won't you change your mind? Baby, won't you change your mind? Oh no, I've been hoping, baby. I've been praying, baby. Yes, I have. Baby, won't you change your mind? Oh no. I've been hoping, baby. Yeah. I've been praying down on my knees, praying that you change your mind. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'll do better if you change your mind.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at The Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at The Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
We out west with it, where we live illegal, leaning off a leader, riding regal, tipping scales like Libras. Inhale, no L's, pulling out blocks like Jenga. In the rear of a Caprice's Billy Rams, flicking decent nonetheless. Nothing less than tens for the speakers. You'll hear us before you see us with beats that beat the streets up. Yeah. So try and keep up and keep it low key, cuz police try and treat us and keep us on a leash, cuz that's how they see us, thinking we nuts. Cuz we'll die for the ground beneath us, because this land made us. This
That's
land
why
made
we
us.
shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. We shine wherever we go. Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what a cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Great evening to you wonderful people. It's afternoon, I suppose. Great afternoon to you wonderful people. On this Monday afternoon, we are live from the What's In It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Howard. This is I Said What I Said each and every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. We get together right here with you all and we discuss issues that are currently impacting the black community, how they impact us as individuals, but also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through many of those issues in the hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome those issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very, very, very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. As always, your input is valued, and we definitely appreciate it. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly ask that you please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Share it. Share it on your personal page. Share it, even within your personal network. Absolutely anyone that you think would add value to or find value in this particular conversation, we welcome them to be a part of the discussion, because we believe that the more like-minded individuals we can get to be a part of this conversation, the better the opportunity we have of finding the aforementioned solution. So please, please, please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Again, this is I Said What I Said. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. What's happening, good brother?
What's up, family? Blessed and highly favored. How you?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good on this here Monday afternoon. Feeling rested, feeling productive, feeling ready to roll. Happy to be hanging out with the fam, man. I miss y'all over the weekends, man. I get to see some of y'all at the kickback on Sunday when I'm hanging out with the bigs. Shout out to everybody that falls through the kickback. We had a pretty good time there on Sunday. We did a dunk draft, man. All-time best dunks draft at the kickback on Sunday. I don't know if you had a chance to catch any of that, but it was fun, man. There's a rookie, this kid named Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves, who could probably be charged with first-degree homicide in like 13 states.
In-game dunks?
In-game dunks. No. In-game dunks. Shout out to my man Suge. I'm going to mention him in a minute, too. Rashard Archie just checked in. But in-game dunks. Rookie from Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, bodied this dude from the Toronto Raptors last week. I'm talking about bodied them bad. Mm-hmm. And so it got us to thinking at the kickback, okay, why don't we have a all-time best posterized in-game dunk draft? And so we did that on Sunday. It was fun, man. You got any all-time favorite like posterized in-game dunks? Not like dunk contest dunks, because it's as impressive as those dunks are. Something about doing something nasty in a game against a defender that is next level. And so we came up with some pretty good ones. It was me, Gino, obviously, Terrence, obviously, and DJ was in it too. And everybody that was hanging out the kickback came through with some of their best dunk moments too. It was good, man. You got any that jump off the page to you, man?
You got the league stuff. You got to count the Vince Carter jumping over dude in the Olympics. That's got to count. That
was my number two. So we did 3 rounds. Each of us picked 3. That was my second round right there.
Yeah, that has to count.
He jumped over a 7-footer.
But the best in-game dunk that I've ever seen, though, wasn't a professional dunk.
Okay, who was it?
It was Ronnie Fields.
Oh,
And it was what's my man that played? He played for the he was a suburban kid. He ended up playing professional football though.
Antoine Randall?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Antoine Randall bodied somebody like that?
Bodied Ronnie Fields.
He bodied Ronnie Fields?
Bodied him. And then Ronnie Fields came back and returned the favor like 2 plays later. But
in the same game?
But in the same game.
He dunked on Ronnie Fields?
He dunked on, and it was like at a downstate game, too. It was like
and then Ronnie Fields dunked on somebody?
Yeah. Him.
He dunked on Antoine Randall?
Like, he was trying to find him. It was him. But Antoine Randall got him, and it was disrespect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's fire.
I think it was Antoine Randall. Yeah, it was one of them.
So if you walk in, I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been in Farragut in a very long time. But it used to be a mural on the wall in Farragut of Ronnie Fields like flying through the air like this, like sideways. And I happened to be at the game.
Say it was Ty Streets. It was one of them. I don't remember.
Okay. Ty Streets.
I thought it was
wide receiver from the 49ers for sure.
Maybe it was Ty Streets. Yeah, it was Ty Streets then.
Man.
It was so disrespectful.
Did him bad?
Did him bad.
Did him bad?
Did him bad.
Yeah, man. Some of those dunks are things you just can't. Nobody's.
Say it was KG. He dunked on. It was Ronnie Fields. He dunked on.
Well, I tell you what.
Say it's trying to disrespect all my facts.
Either way, just listen to that though. Listen to those 4 dudes. You talking about Ty Streets, Twan Randall, KG, and Ronnie Fields, who.
And mind you, this was 4,400 years ago.
Ronnie Fields had as much bounce as anybody who's ever walked the face of this earth. Ronnie Fields had. Gino say Ronnie jumped over Sergio McClain, who went to Peoria Manual. They won like 4 straight state titles. Serge, Frankie. Who else was on that team, Gino? Serge, Frankie, what was dude's name? Griffin? I can't even remember his name too. But they had a whip down there at Peoria Manual. Serge Daddy, Coach McClain was the coach. RIP to Coach McClain. But yeah, Peoria Manual, they was getting busy down there for a minute. Shout out to Serge, man. Serge is the homie, man. But anyway, Ronnie Fields, the mural that's on the wall at Farragut, sideways dunk like this. I was at the game when he caught that. It was a lob. They got a turnover, and the dude on the left side of the court got a turnover. He throws a lob from like half court, and Ronnie Fields is streaking down the right side. And so when everybody kind of sees this, everybody stands up. Dude throw the lob, and the ball goes so high that the whole gym collectively was like, oh, and just sat back down. Because it was like, you threw the ball out of bounds. Did you tweak?
But Ronnie can go get
Ronnie said, no, I got it, fam.
He can fly.
He went and got the ball, caught that joint down here, leaned sideways, threw that joint in. The game was on pause for like 10 minutes as the gym was completely sent up.
Going crazy.
Completely sent up. Like, cats running on the court. Like, it was bananas. I don't know who caught the picture, but somebody ended up painting and putting it on the wall. That thing was bananas. Ronnie Fields had some of the dumbest bounce. Ronnie Fields, you remember Paul McPherson?
Mm-hmm. I know Paul.
Paul had dumb bounce too.
And Paul was like a tank. Paul was built like
he was
a tank.
big as hell.
You know what I'm saying? So he was super strong too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul got super bounce.
Yeah, no, Paul had bounce for real, and Paul was the genuine article, as you say. Paul was caught up. Paul was in a lot of things.
Yes, he is.
Paul,
I was about to say was.
Paul was in a lot of things, man. And so, as much as he could handle business on the court, he could check you off the court too.
Paul came to talk to some of my shorties, my kids.
He went to South Shore.
Yeah, he came to talk to Eric and
Paul.
some of the other shorties. Like, yeah, I was, I was. But the streets was calling, and it's, I'm so glad I got that part of my life out the way.
As gifted an athlete as there
like,
was.
What you mean? What part out the way?
You so stupid. You so stupid.
Nah, I'm just playing.
No, I'm just being serious. No, yeah, for sure. But I mean, the truth is the truth, man. Paul was absolutely gifted, but the streets had a hold on Paul. I mean, he managed to use his athleticism to get all the way to DePaul.
You remember J.I. Ryder?
Hell yeah.
So, man, I remember one time I'm in L.A. We somewhere like, I don't know L.A. like that to say the streets, but we in the hood somewhere. And J.I. Ryder was on somebody's porch smoking weed and shooting dice. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Hey,
I said, boy, your career will be over tomorrow.
Hey, man, listen. You got to understand that, like, a lot of these cats, man, that's that kind of gifted, they not more than 12 months removed from the hood. They might have went and did a year in college, or at that time, you can go straight to the league. These cats is coming straight from 63rd. Now I got 20 million. I ain't no different. I'm just on 63rd with 20 million now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot we can get into. So, shout out to everybody who has made that journey, man, and tried to navigate those waters, and some have done it successfully. Shout out to the KGs and whatnot of the world. And, KG wasn't, the genuine article that, a Paul McPherson was, or even that some of these other cats were. But nonetheless, he went to Farragut. You know what I'm saying? For a year.
But by way of South Carolina.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He didn't have that.
That's what I'm saying. He wasn't like it wasn't like he was a West Side nigga like to the core like that. You know what I mean?
He didn't have that experience.
Yeah, it's not the same. But some of them cats, man, you talk about some of the Lil Dave Baileys and the Sid Banks and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of them cats, Will growing up over there, Luther, like you know what I'm saying? LeVar Seals, like these cats was on the West Side for real. Like, not to say that they was all caught up in the streets and all of them. There was varying degrees of that. But you got like the Mike Wrights and like Butch, like all of these cats, like some of these cats was really in that thing. Like Tony Allen, yeah, like some of these cats was really in it like that. And shout out to them for being able to come up out of that. Carter says Will Bynum was one of those cats, NBA talent with the streets calling him. Now Will wasn't like that though. Like, so Will, genuine article in that he's from there. Will.
But I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna say Will is the genuine article for real. And when
he is the genuine article.
Yeah, he's a real Chicago cat.
Genuine article, 100%. I'm talking about in terms of
he wasn't engaged in the
Nah,
streets
Will
like that.
Will
always
wasn't
had
like
focus. Will always had focus. Matter of fact, if you know the story of Tony Allen was the genuine article, right?
Yeah.
So out of 8th grade, Tony was in the streets serving already.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
And if you know the story, he didn't really play high school basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And near the end of their high school career, Will ran into him on a humble. Like, man, what the hell is you doing with your life?
Yeah.
And Tony had already dropped out of school and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Will let him stay with him and his mama. And he convinced Tony Allen to go to night school. And Tony Allen caught up with his grade level and still graduated on time and ended up going to play college ball at like a JUCO or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But that was all based on Will and Will's investment in Tony Allen.
Now, Will is one of the most pure intended dudes that come out of this coach. This conversation that we having, Will is one of the like purest dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? He real quiet, real soft spoken dude. If you don't know Will, you ain't gonna know Will. Like, he's just not that kind of dude. He's not that kind of open. You be around him and hear him say 10 words all day. That's just kind of how Will is. Now, you get him in his environment where he is comfortable, and he just like everybody else. But as far as like being like really, really caught up in the streets like that, nah. I mean, he's from there. You know what I mean? So he had his experiences, but he wasn't like some of the other cats I've named.
And Will ain't from out west either.
They was in, but I'm just saying that's where he was at. That's what Crane is. You know what I mean? So, you know, his experience, genuine as ever, right? As anybody else's, but not like, you know, when I'm talking about some of these other cats. You talking about like Martell and Butch and like them dudes was in it for real. And
Good dudes, though. Martell said all
good
them.
dudes. I love them dudes.
Yeah,
they was big brothers to me in a very, very real way. Like, I was around them dudes all the time since I was like 3rd, 4th grade. Cause of my brother. It was my brother's teammates, or they was his opponents, or they was AAU teammates, whatever. So I was always around them. Yeah, good dudes. But I can remember nights hanging out with Lil Dave and setting them to 5, 6 in the morning. And they up doing anything you can imagine doing at 5, 6 in the morning, and then they go drop 40 in a few hours. Like, it was just like that for them. And you know, Coach Head, I mean, as long as they showed up, because Coach Head wasn't gonna cut you no slack. Y'all got to show up, and Westinghouse was gonna press you 94 feet for 4 quarters. It was 4 quarters of hell with them dudes. I forgot what they called that team that they used to have, the UNLV. Not even UNLV. I think it might have been the Razor, but I don't know which team it was. But either way, they was gonna give you 4 quarters of it. Like,
who's your favorite Chicago basketball player all the time?
My favorite Chicago basketball player of all time. I'm gonna take my brother out of it because he's probably my favorite. But other than that, I would say Will Bynum. Will Bynum was my favorite. Like, I like Will Bynum was the only player, like, out of all them cats that I knew growing up, I would pay to go see Will play basketball. Like, to this day, I love the way it was a show.
I ain't gonna lie, Pooh my favorite, but Will was my favorite for a very long time.
Will was so when Sharon Collins came, and it was like, oh, he Will 2.0. No diss to Sharon.
No, sir.
Like, I like Sharon.
No, sir.
And Sharon was a football player too, which I really liked about Sharon. And he had the same kind of build as Will. They short, stocky. Sharon was even a little stockier than Will was. But nah, he wasn't Will, fam.
I remember when Will, early Will, freshman maybe year Will, Will couldn't shoot at all, right?
Nah.
And he was a little dude.
When you can get to the bucket whenever you want, but you don't develop a jump shot until you can't.
I'm only saying that to add perspective.
Yeah.
Right? But Will couldn't shoot at all. He might have been 5'2", 5'3". I mean, he was a little bitty dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember him playing in the pro-ams.
Yeah, exactly.
And the pro-ams used to crack back then.
At IT.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember
Trent's getting sent up.
I remember people would come see Will instead of the pro players. And Will wasn't even scoring. He was just shaking the damn whole floor.
Will was nasty, dog.
Handles was stupid.
Had the ball on a string.
Stupid had.
Like, and he had bounce, jump out the gym. He used to do this move. He'd be in the corner, and the ball gets swung to him in the corner. He'd take this real slow, exaggerated pump fake, almost like nobody should ever went for it, but they always went for it. He'd take the ball, he'd do the slow, exaggerated pump fake where he'd just take the ball and do like this. They'd jump. He'd take one dribble through his legs as he moved towards the basket, bounce, boom, like dumb bounce. Like Will.
Darius said his favorite is Zeke, then Pooh. Zeke is the best, but I said favorite. That's why I said favorite on purpose.
Man.
Zeke is the best for sure, but
it was
Pooh
definitely
my second favorite. But Will used to be so fun to watch.
It was way too much fun watching Will play. So was it fun to watch Luther Head play.
That's true too.
Luther Head was a problem.
Who was that? Who was with Luther in them class? The boy that went to Julian, I think it was.
Doc.
Yeah.
Doc is a year younger than them.
Okay.
Will, Luther, Ron, they came out in 01. Doc was 02.
Doc got a bad. He shouldn't have went to Duke.
Yeah, we was talking about that on at the kickback too. With the bigs, we was talking about Doc. We was talking about cats that went to Duke, and for whatever reason, no matter how good of a career you have, it never out professionally except for a few people: Grant Hill, Jason Tatum.
But see, I look at that differently. I think it goes two ways. I think you could be a bum at Duke and still make it into the NBA. You may not be a superstar player, but they find ways to get people on NBA rosters.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? So they might be team spokesmen or whatever. So
no doubt.
It depends on how you look at the game.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at it.
I'm not a fan of the Duke player.
It's a ticket to the league, but I'm just saying none of those guys ever get to the league and have that sustained level of success that you expected from them based off of their collegiate accomplishments. You know what I mean? It never really pans out, whether you talk about the Duhans of the world or tragically the Jay Williams or the Dunleavys or pick a guy. It don't even matter.
I know you could put tragically to Jay Williams, but he wasn't gonna be nothing without the tragedy, in my opinion.
I don't know that. He won Rookie of the Year. He was going crazy, dog.
Yeah, true.
I don't know that.
I'm saying
I feel your opinion. If that's your opinion, that's fine.
I don't want to spread the rumors. You know how they say that happened to Jay? I'm not gonna start right there.
You know how I know you gay?
I'm not gonna get into that story.
Whatever he does in this bedroom takes nothing away from the player that he was on the court. That man was a monster. Nothing I've ever seen about his basketball game leads me to believe that he would not continue to dominate. I don't care if you like him or not. I didn't like him either.
Oh,
you thought he was trash. Now you're just hating. Like that's a hating thing to say. That's fine. Say that. Both of those things can be true. There's a lot of people I don't like that are cold.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, I just didn't like him. I'm gonna just say that.
That's fine. That's cool. I don't like the dude.
I don't even think he was cold.
And that's just hating.
Jamie Brandon.
That's just hating because he was cold.
I played with Jamie Brandon before.
Like I'm just saying, man. I remember they had they used to have this. I don't know if they still played or not. They had Chicago versus New York game, All-Star game, and
Shannon. Then when Shannon was killing them.
So Shannon again came out. I want to say Shannon was 02 as well.
Shannon came out with Bron, right?
No, maybe.
I think so. There was a Shannon. There was one of them games like New York, Chicago. I don't know if it was like Wendy's pop out. It was one of them kind of games. Shannon was dog walking Bron, G. Dog walking Bron.
Shannon cold. G.
Shannon cold.
Shannon's dumb cold.
Yeah, he dumb cold. And he got bounced.
Oh, no, dumb bounce. Like, no, stupid bounce. Stupid, dumb bounce. Nah, Shannon's one of my favorite players, too, man. When him and D was at Proviso East, that was a thing. Like, that was a thing you needed to see. Like, oh, this is cracking. But you know, I just miss that era of high school basketball, man. When you had those cats, I can remember the Proviso West shootout and how crazy they used to be. That was always around like Thanksgiving or Christmas, something like that. The Proviso West tournament, that thing used to be so live, man. Like dumb. I remember a dude named Joey Range. He went to Galesburg.
Speaking of Proviso,
he said the tournament he dropped like 55.
Speaking of Proviso, I know this is a shift a little bit. It's a segue, trying to change the subject a little bit. But in regards to the Fred Hampton movie, I watched something the other day about the actual dude who played Fred Hampton, the Daniel Kaluuya dude, right? And it was that conversation about should, foreign-born black actors be able to play Adolf's black.
Exactly, Gino. In the game, he threw off the glass.
should foreign-born black actors be able to play Adolf's heroes in movies? And when you start thinking about all of the movies that's come out in the last, 5 years, every major Adolf's hero role was played by a foreign-born black person. So you get the Harriet Tubman was played by a West African. You get Fred played by East African. You get Malcolm X played in the movie we talked about when it was all in one room, Sunday Night in Vegas or One Night in Vegas, Miami or something like that.
One Night in Miami, yeah.
Dude who played Malcolm was a West African. Dude in the last King movie, King and Coretta was both played by West Africans. Right? And you go down the line, it was all these conversations. And they was the dude who's doing a deep dive of the Fred Hampton story, and I just thought it was an interesting perspective. And it's one of the things I said too, right? And this is not just necessarily directed at, foreign-born black people, but I hate when people try to do the Chicago accent. It bothers me to death.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like
I don't even know the Chicago accent.
What accent?
So it's not an accent to us because we're here.
Of course, but I'm saying I don't know it. You know what I mean?
But if doing the Fred movie, like I had to stop the movie a few times.
Like New Orleans people know the New Orleans
and
accent. I don't know the Chicago accent.
Our accent is strong too. It's just because we're normal.
I know it's strong. I just don't know what it is.
But what I'm saying is, during the Fred movie myself, as a Chicagoan,
people do the generic white Irish.
I had to stop the movie
Nobody talks like that.
several times and rewind the tape to understand clearly what he was saying on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So he was trying so hard that I was like, man, this is a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what dude is saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't play out well, but he was comparing the two, and he was having dude was having a conversation himself. The Daniel Kaluuya, and he was like, yeah, Fred went to Proviso High School. Proviso. Right. So, but they was comparing the two.
Proviso.
One dude is 30 plus years old.
Why do my phone keep saying I keep entering the room? I've been in the room. Skin on my nerve.
Dude is 30 plus. Fred, when this movie supposedly started, was like 18. Right? That was the story they was trying to tell, from 18 to 21 or 19 to 21. So dude is 30 plus. And it was like, when you think about the cast of black actors, Adolph's black actors that are really in that age range, why not cast one of those people? Right? And even the Lakeith character, Lakeith is also 30 years old. That guy in real life, William O'Neill, was really 17 when all this was starting to take place. So he was saying, from the perspective of the movie, it gives you a different perspective of the people themselves because you don't have a concept of their real age range. Yeah. Right? Imagine being, I don't know if it was me and you that was talking about this, it was somebody, because Fred and Chief Malik, same age. So when Fred died at 21, Chief Malik was 21 as well. But Chief Malik had an army of 10,000 people and probably 100,000 guns. Think about that. At 21 years old, I got an army of more than 10,000 people and probably 100,000 guns that'll move at my beck and call. At 21 years old. You know what I mean? Fred being who Fred was at 21 years old. That adds context to the movie. But I was just when you said Proviso, it was interesting because they compared the Daniel Kaluuya dude, the East African guy, who grew up kind of privileged East African and went to like private schools, right? Where he was like less than, I think it was 12% of the black population in this British kind of school, and everybody there came from like some level of elite wealth, right? But then you get to the Fred story, and Proviso is like 60% underprivileged. You know what I mean? Just the whole entirety of the experience changes form when you start to understand who these people actually are. And I get it, he's an actor, he's playing a role or whatever, but how well can you relate to the role? One, when like Fred isn't a notable person like a Malcolm or a King or right, he's not known like that. So almost you would have to have some understanding of the experience a little bit. You know what I mean? And it was like he couldn't play they said the acting was terrible. And they said it was based on those things. And I think it just adds some context, and I think it makes a little bit of sense. But I also think that we need to start asking the question, why don't we cast American-born descendants of slavery into those heroic kind of roles? These aren't just like, I don't know, the Equalizer. These aren't just regular, these aren't made-up people. These are real stories. You know what I mean?
It's the same thing we talk about all the time, bro. It's a lack of identity. There's no singular accepted identity by the whole yet. And so if we ain't came up with a singular identity that we've all accepted as a collective, they ain't decided on one either. You know what I'm saying? And so for us, for the longest, it's just been everybody that kind of look like us is us. You know what I mean? And so they're like, yeah, that's a black person playing Fred Hampton. That works, right? And so not until recently, you say 5 years, certainly not more than 10 years ago, would this even be a conversation? You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, that's a black dude playing him. You know what I'm saying? We are just now starting to really try and identify ourselves for ourselves. So certainly Hollywood ain't to that point yet. They like, yeah, we got a blackface dude to play. What's the problem?
But it's in context, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one, the vast majority of movies that we have that are like box office or big movies, they usually are kind of docu-series or docu-movies. You know? So, those are real people and real stories. Why not try to cast something as close to the real understanding as possible?
I get what you're saying. I'm there with you. I'm simply saying that they think they're doing that, right? Until recently, we have not even made that distinction for ourselves.
Now, I get it in regards to even
And that in totality, we still haven't.
I don't agree though. I think they're making these conscious decisions, right? And I'm saying it in this sense, right? For the Daniel Kaluuya specifically. Fred Hampton was 18, 19 years old. This Mark is 32.
Well, yeah, that's one thing, but they do.
But that's not.
They
one
cast
thing.
adults to play teenagers all the time.
But that's not 30 and 17 is a world apart. That's not.
I agree with you, but they do that all the time.
Not like that, bro.
Yes, they do, G. They cast these adults to play teenagers all the time.
If they can fit into the construct, right? The dude who played in the skating movie with Bow Wow and them, the dude who's the coolest dude. I can't remember his. I don't
never seen Roll Bounce.
But if anybody's seen Roll Bounce, the dude who ran
You got
the
kids. I don't
skating
got
rink,
kids.
the dude who it was a Chicago movie. That's why I watched it too, though.
Okay.
But the dude who ran the skating rink is one of them dudes who's older who gets cast as a younger person, but he looks like a younger person. You know what I mean? These cats don't look like younger people. Even when they cast them down, they try to make them look like that age bracket.
Yeah.
There was no attempts to make Daniel Kaluuya or what's my man's name? Lakeith Stanfield look 17 and 21. They was 32 and 31, which changes the context of the story, right? It changed the context to the story immensely because now, even to William O'Neal, if you're sympathetic to William O'Neal, you could say, man, this boy was 17 years old getting played like this. That's a very different thing than saying, look at this grown man accepting this role. Because it changes the context of how you view people.
It does.
You know what I mean? And I thought that in this particular conversation, they said that their whole movie casting was wrong because they based it on the casting of the Daniel Kaluuya. So if you're going to base it on his casting, everything has to sit around him to fit. You know what I mean? Truth be told, though, they signed Lakeith on first, and they based everything else around Lakeith. And it's also interesting because Lakeith is the ADOS, right? Why not have Lakeith play Fred? Why is Lakeith the sellout? I just think it's all interesting when you start to break down the dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, and you know, I'm always there on that piece in terms of, you know, what, you know, white supremacy is trying to do. But I think in this particular instance, I really think the simplest answer is the most accurate, and it's just that we haven't defined who we are. And so we could talk to people who I know love black people and who are committed to that fight on a regular basis, and they still get different answers about who we are. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brother Cam Howard. I love Brother Cam. He's worked tirelessly on reparations for Cobra. But for Cam, it is this diasporic, if you will, conversation. And for me, that ain't the conversation. And so if somebody like Cam, who I know loves us, and me, who also loves us, if we can't even agree about who the fuck we are, I can't really charge Hollywood to come up with that, to reach that conclusion. I just can't put that on them. Until we do that for ourselves, I can't put that on somebody else.
But we say Hollywood, though, right?
Yes.
We just like, it's like saying the system. Well, what's a system? A system is a group of people. So when you get to the back door of that movie, the Fred Hampton movie specifically, those are a black director, a black producer. You know what I mean? So with that being said, these people are, one, competent of the understanding, right? So why not?
But are they? I just told you that two black people who I love and respect do not see this thing the same way. We have not come up with an identity for ourselves. How can we expect anybody else to?
Even if we step aside of the context of Brit versus ADOS, if you gonna make a biopic about somebody, you know he's 21 years old. You know he's 17 years old. Even if you're confused about whether or not British black and Alabama black is different, right? You know he's 21. You know he's 17. Yeah. As a storyteller, you know the context is different when you got a 30-year-old man sitting with the FBI versus a 17-year-old boy sitting with the FBI. It changes the context.
Yeah, I feel you. I just, you know, I can't really. I see that too often in films where they have these older people playing these younger roles, right? Like, I've seen Menace to Society 100 times. Kane is never 17 to me in that movie. I don't care how many times I watch the movie. Kane ain't 17 to me. You know what I mean? I know his character in the movie is 17. That ain't what I'm seeing. That's not how I view that. I don't see Kane as a 17-year-old dude in that movie.
He looks 17 to me.
Okay.
Why don't he look 17 to you?
I'm just saying, I'm saying the nature of the film kind of takes your mind to another space. It's hard for me to believe in my own self that Fred Hampton was 21 years old. It's hard for me to even reconcile that in my own head. Movie or no movie, it's hard for me to reconcile that he was a 21-year-old young man. And so when the age thing, I don't know. I see that in Hollywood too much for me to make a big deal about that. And the identity thing, I think that's on us. If we don't come up with if we don't define ourselves for ourselves, ain't nobody else gonna do it either. That's black people, white people, Hollywood, corporate. I don't care where we at. We haven't made that distinction for ourselves. We still argue about it amongst ourselves.
Well, moving toward having made that distinction ourselves, right? Watch how smooth two transitions.
Come on, two.
We just had
debate. What you say? Debate with your equals.
That's right.
Educate all others.
That's all I do.
Pray tell, enlighten.
We just had the HR 40. I don't know what you call it.
The bill, the HR 40
pavilion conference.
You know.
But to this point, though, right, of defining who we are, I missed it during most of the week. We was here. I was working. I wasn't staying abreast of the conversation. So this weekend, I was just, perusing through some of the clips.
Mm-hmm.
We in trouble. We in a lot of trouble.
I'd say so.
And we allow ourselves to be put in these positions. And it's similar to this very conversation we're having, right? So your perspective is different than mine, but my perspective is when you get the Daniel Kaluuya and the Lakeith Stanfield playing the roles of a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old, specifically when it's like a factual situation, I think you confuse the understanding, right? Mm-hmm. And when I look at the HR 40 referendum or bill or conversation, whatever you want to call it this weekend,
sure,
I think who is chosen to have those conversations
matters.
Are specifically chosen to confuse the conversation, right? And because the vast majority of us are ignorant, and I heard somebody say this, and this was in a whole completely different context. This was kind of about something very remedial in my mind, but he said something that was kind of brilliant. And he said that we don't have royalty in America, so celebrity serves as royalty. And our attention is driven by said celebrity, right? And we validate them celebrities as the end-all, be-all to conversations. So during the HR 40 bill, one of the people they had speaking was Herschel Walker. Mm-hmm. And to the life of me, I still can't figure out what the hell validates Herschel Walker to be a part of the HR 40 hearing at all. Like, why would we pick Herschel Walker to have a conversation about reparations?
Well, I think if you understand what his viewpoint is, you can understand, how his opinion is going to throw.
But think about this: even if
salt in the game,
he's a coon, right? Mm-hmm. I say that fully and comfortably.
He earned it.
He's a coon, right? Mm-hmm. He's OJ. He's early OJ. He ain't even OJ after the murders. He's OJ. He's OJ at the airport jumping over.
OJ found out.
He's OJ at the airport jumping over luggage. That's him. That's Herschel Walker,
right.
Right? But even if that's the case, why pick him? Like, he has no validation there. Even from a coon perspective, there are intelligent coons all around.
Yeah.
Go get an intelligent coon to have the coon perspective.
So while we having this conversation, listen, I was tuned into the Ruthie Moore show this morning, and they had a dope conversation about it this morning.
I don't never tune into the
Ruthie wasn't there. So.
Huh?
Ruthie wasn't there today.
Still a show.
Them two dudes was filling in for Ruthie today.
Dude, them and Ruthie.
Dude, them.
Dude, them.
Listen, so on the Mace Jackson show this morning, They had a good conversation about it, and they played the audio. Sko, do you still have the audio?
Man, play the audio.
Can we pull
When
that audio?
many surveys show that a large percentage of black and white teens would say racism is better today than yesterday. We use black power to create white guilt. My approach is biblical. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? I never want to put anyone's religion down, but my religion teach togetherness. Reparation teach separation.
Your religion
Slavery
is the religion
ended
of the
over
slave
130
master.
years ago. How can a father be asked his son to spend prison time for a crime he committed? In the case we speak of, we're researching farther back in history, a history many are not taught or spoken about in school. America is the greatest country in the world to me, a melting pot of a lot of great races, a lot of great minds that have come together with different ideas and make America the greatest country on earth. Many have died trying to get into America. No one is dying trying to get out. Reparation, where will the money come from? Does it come for all the other races except the black taxpayers? Who is black? What percentage of black must you be to receive reparation? Do you go to 23andMe or a DNA test to determine the
23andMe?
percentage of blackness? Some American
making
ancestors
jokes out of our
just came
shit?
to this country 80 years ago. Their ancestor wasn't even here during slavery. Some black immigrants weren't here during slavery, nor their ancestors. Some states didn't even have slavery. We as black
He making my case
Americans
for ADOS.
have always wanted what the Constitution stated: all men, black, white, and today Latino, Asian, Italian, etc., should be guaranteed the alienability rights of life, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Years later, after slavery ended, Dr. King, I Have a Dream speech, said the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was a great beacon of light. But hundreds of years later, we're still not free because of segregation and discrimination. Today, I call that reparation. I asked my mom, who is in her mid-80s, her thought on reparation. Her words, I do not believe in reparation. Who is the money going to go to? Has anyone thought about paying the families who lost someone in the Civil War, who fought for their freedom? Your dad and I taught you, speaking of me, to provide for you and your family through a good education and hard work. If you give a man a fish, you feed him a day. You teach him to fish, you feed him a lifetime.
Right.
Reparation is only feeding you.
You still
for a
on the
day.
fish, he
It's
starves to
removing the
death.
sign for whites only, replacing the sign for no education here. Black Americans asking for a hand up, not a hand out. Another big question, who is the guilty party? Should we start at the beginning where African Americans sold the African American ancestors into slavery and to a slave trader who eventually sold the African American
Security, smash that
ancestors
off
to
stage.
slave owners? The slave owners who had no success and no luck
Success.
trying to make a Native American whose land they took become their slave because the Native American ran away. Well, they thought it was fine then to use African American who didn't know the country, didn't know the language, didn't know the religion, and they didn't run away. So I asked, why reparation? Well, slavery is to the year 2021, still talking about reparation, not equal education, not to compare a game to a horrible period in my life. But
First
as
of all,
I
how do you
fought
feel
shoulder
about
to
the
shoulder with
Holocaust?
my fellow football brothers of other races, I saw struggles they were encountering the same as I. And I heard them speak to their parents of problems my family were dealing with as well. If a black player would have been given something different than any other player, it would have created problems within the team, separation and division. Ezekiel 18:20, the righteousness of the right shall be upon him. The son shall not suffer for the crime of the father, nor the father suffer the crime of the son, unless either father or son
We do.
know beforehand the father or son was a
That's
criminal.
what reparations
To help
is about,
any race,
fool.
provide them with a good quality education and help incentivize through opportunities with responsibilities, which helps generations in the future. If reparation is a fee or a correction for a terrible sin of slave owners, government, and others, but we punish the non-guilty party, is it not creating division, a separation with different races? I feel it
Now we
continues to
creating
let
the
us
separation and
know
division.
we're still African American rather than just American. Reparation or atonement is outside the teaching of Jesus Christ, who you are.
That's about
teaching,
Jesus.
Who will not be teaching the word of God.
What is wrong with this man? First of all,
Jesus said I should go to the store and everything would be okay.
So the good brother Alvin has been clowning about this audio all day. So I was watching Alvin in the comments this morning, and he was clowning, just writing up the quotes about what Herschel was saying or trying to say. Hilarious. First of all, the brother makes the good Dr. Willie Wilson sound like an orator of the highest order. Okay. Like, what are you saying right now, sir?
Said, we is all Mexicans.
I was like,
Keep my name out your mouth.
like Alvin is a whole fool for how he been clowning on how to do his talks.
Oh God, I hurt my stomach.
What is wrong with this man? Like what is wrong with you? So should we make the son pay for the sin of the father? Like
Ezekiel said Jesus would not be.
Are the black sons of the slaves still yet suffering from the consequences of what white people did to the father? Yes, we are. Therefore, cut the check. And you act like we act like we actually telling their grandson to cut the check. But that motherfucker ain't coming shit. Run us hour though. This hour's running.
Check game though. Back to why historical context is important, even playing into the movie. Right? This smart just used the Martin Luther King quote to validate his stance on not giving black people reparations. The same man that said in his most famous speech that we are on this lawn because we came here to get our check. That's what King said. King said, we here to get our check. This man just used the King quote to tell you why we don't deserve a check.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land.
The nerve of you.
In the West and the Midwest.
The nerve of you to put your ignorant ass opinion in the mouth of Dr. King.
They built land grant colleges.
Fuck is wrong with you?
Government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents.
Not only that.
To further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms.
Not only that.
Today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
It is a cruel.
This is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we're coming to get our check.
To get
Run
our
me my
check.
money. Count my money.
Now you have to die, sir. Okay? Kumbaya, hold hands, nonviolent. You can cool, you can do all that. You can demonstrate. You say you coming to get what?
My check.
Kill that man.
Run me my money.
Kill him.
Right? But think about that, though. Here's Herschel Walker, an aberration even amongst black people.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the most gifted athletes to ever step foot on the face of the planet.
You're an aberration.
Yes.
Right? Me and my teammates had some of the same experiences.
Come on, Alvin. Come on with some more.
Right? I know y'all did, because y'all are all aberrations.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It was that aberration that allowed you to live the life of comfort that you've lived. Because if you talk like that and you couldn't run 100 yards in 4 seconds, you'd be poor.
Right. Right. Be clear.
Be clear.
Your
right?
ass can't even speak.
And again, right, this anecdotal ass information. I don't give a fuck what your mama said, Herschel.
Fuck your mama.
What has your mama studied, Herschel?
Because clearly she failed. Your mama, your daddy, everybody else who raised your goof ass clearly failed in instilling into you who you are. If I don't do nothing else,
My mama said,
my shorty gonna know who you are.
But see, the reason this shit is so important because that becomes a very common thought process. Even when we had Shorty on here corporate the other day.
Yeah, man.
And I said, corporate, I rock with what you're saying, bro. But oftentimes what happens in oppression.
If he was lucky, he'd be delivering mail all day.
What happens oftentimes in oppression is that the oppressed begin to blame themselves for their situations and them circumstances because they don't have a full understanding of what oppression is.
Right.
And his response to me, and no disrespect to the little brother, and he's a little brother.
Mm-hmm.
He said, my mama said, same quote, my mama said, they can't step on your neck unless you put your neck on the ground.
That's not true.
It's not true. You don't have context.
Ask
bro.
George Floyd if they can step on your
But
neck.
you don't have an understanding. But you see how that thought process permeates, and that's the thought process that says pull yourself up by your bootstraps without any context. You go back to one King conversation. And King said, while they were giving out millions of acres of land, right? While they were undergirding their success, they were robbing us of our birthright. You didn't lay your neck on the ground, my G. You didn't have no ground to lay on. Contextually, though, we say shit in public, like my mama said.
We find reasons
And it validates it.
to validate their oppression because we were grown up in it. We were immersed in it. We were taught it in a way that allowed us to become so indoctrinated to the very same ideals that they have, that challenging that doesn't necessarily seem like you're just challenging racism. You're challenging America. You're challenging my very way of being here. And so until something else happens that shifts me from thinking that, I think the same thing. Shout out to May, shout out to Todd this morning. They both said, listen, oftentimes when these issues would come up, and they didn't necessarily say reparations, but that when these issues would come up about what needs to be done for black people and in the black community, both of them said, I would often say, where's that money gonna come from? Who gonna be able to pay for that? Y'all need to just go out and get it for yourself, whatever. How we gonna pay for that? Until what happened? White people needed the bread. Now we can print the shit. Who need a check? Everybody in the country need a check? We got it.
Man,
When it's white people, we got it.
Israel-
When it's y'all, how we gonna pay for it? Motherfucker, because you make money. That's how.
Israel exists.
Like you literally make it.
Israel exists for that reason. Israel is a response to reparations. That's what it is. That's how that shit exists, right? We somebody in the YouTube comments asked how does he feel about the reparations that the Japanese received from the U.S. government, right? But context again. It was brothers that put them up to that and helped them get their reparations because we leveraged the Japanese to see how the U.S. government would respond.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If they shit on them, we can guarantee you they're going to shit on us.
Yeah.
Right? But they got it.
They didn't shit on them.
They got
And
it.
they
And
still shit on us.
now there's a propensity for people from our community to shit on us. It's the exact concept of the oppressed blaming themselves for their oppression.
It's mind blowing, G.
Right? And they use an aberration like Herschel Walker
It's mind blowing.
to make this statement. But it's not mind blowing, right? There's gonna always be a Herschel Walker. There's gonna always be a William O'Neill. There's gonna always be this class of person. But I got to ask from the masses, from the masses of the populace, to say, even if you agree with that standpoint, why is he the guy to have the motherfucking microphone? There are people who study this shit even with his perspective. There are intellectuals who study this shit with his perspective. Why you gotta get a motherfucker who just came out the field with a football in his hand? No reference point to academia in which he studied these issues to be the fucking voice of this.
Where is Herschel Walker most famous? Where did he go to college, you know?
I don't know.
Georgia. Where did he play his most meaningful professional football, you know?
I don't know shit about Herschel Walker. Like
Texas. Don't matter. Georgia, Texas. Right? Georgia and Texas. You use a motherfucker that is most famous in Georgia and in Texas to spew this kind of bullshit. They've already just lost Georgia, right? We're trying to stabilize that. We're trying to maintain our stronghold there. And we cannot, for the life of us, lose Texas, right? Dallas Cowboys football is God in Texas.
Who chooses these people? How do these people get on this forum? I want to know. I want to speak to who picked the people to be on this forum. How do you get put on this forum? That's a question I need an answer to. Right? So if you ever dealt with any level of marketing or any level of industry insiders per se, right? News ain't news.
His brain injury is white supremacy, ROW.
News is whoever the PR person can get you in front of, unless it's like world news.
I saw all the talk about CTE and all that. It's a cop out.
Right? On short news days, anybody can make the news. Right? It's who the PR person is, who's plugged with who, and who can get in front of who. And they can make you news. They can make your conversation valid. You know what I mean? Who chooses these people to make them valid? I want to know. And I think we all as a community should want to know. And we should all have an ask as to why he was chosen. Why is he part of this conversation? Even if you are not in favor of reparations, why Herschel Walker? And Herschel Walker ain't the only one. There was a few of those people like that was in this conversation.
There's plenty of them, bro. They all around. There are more of them than there are than they're not.
It was a congressional hearing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just asking, how do you get validated to be in that conversation?
Rep Sheila Jackson of Texas.
How do you
get call?
Yeah. How do you get validated to be the person that they want to talk to?
Listen. It doesn't make sense but for one reason. Right? You're trying, nobody's gonna get up there and surprise people with what comes out of their mouth. Right? If they chose you to come up there, unless you are an elected official, they know what you're about to say. You're up there for a reason. You're up there to provide a certain perspective and argue on behalf of a particular side of this argument. They knew what he was going to say, but it's bullshit. But as much as I think that it is BS, there are more people like him than not. More people like him than not. And I say that because if the reverse were true, if the opposite were true, we wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in.
Does Herschel live in Texas?
I don't know where he lives now. I'm just saying that's where he played his most meaningful professional football.
I bet he's still in Texas.
I would bet he is too.
And then I bet that Sheila Jackson
or
Lee
Georgia
did choose him. I bet that Sheila Jackson Lee did choose him. That shit is a shame. We need to get her on. We need to try to get her on this show.
It says he lives in Texas.
I bet. Yep. I bet they probably neighbors. That's so disrespectful.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like that's like you gotta. Yeah, you.
A congressional hearing.
Yeah. You connect the dots and everything. It starts to make sense. None of this stuff is like, like, oh, how do we get here? Like, no, we understand what's going on. Ain't nobody confused here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, do you accept the reality? Do you accept the reality or not? Audrey say he in Mexico with Cruz, with Ted Cruz. That's, you know what I mean? That's just kind of what it is, man. So, I think that the responsibility is on us, right? Again, like I say all the time, it is on those of us who are, one, aware that there's some issues, two, actively engaged in solving some of those issues, to kind of set the tone for how we're going to move. We can't expect the likes of a Herschel Walker or a Daniel Cameron, for that matter, to really speak to our concerns and our issues and represent us in that way. It's not a real thing. It's just not. And so, we'll see, man. We got to take a break. When we come back from break, a lot of you guys' comments are really, really powerful. I want to jump into some of those things on the other side of the break. And we got a lot of things we want to get into on the other side as well for the conversation for today. This is I Said What I Said. My name is Herb. His name is Tu. When we come back, we'll check in with Esco in the production studio. We'll be right back.
Here at What's In It for the Black People Media, we want to celebrate Black History Month. There is nothing like a cold winter in Chicago or a hot summer, but what we don't ever want to see again is the Red Summer of 1919, considered one of the longest worst riots ever in the history of Illinois. At the time, white folk found themselves competing with the Great Migration and post-World War I social changes, strained economics, racism, the fight for political power. They didn't like it. The race riots rocketed in various cities, and Chicago was one of them, leading to the death of 17-year-old Eugene Williams, July 27 that same year on our beloved South Side. Then the poop hit the fan, y'all. I don't know. Sounds too close to home. You tell me, what's in it for the black people?
I'm blickety black, blacker than black, black. I'm blacker than black, yo. Because I'm black.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at The Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at The Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the green side of things. It's your man, Sadiq.
And Cassiopeia.
And we need you to like,
comment,
and share
that thing
every Tuesday and Thursday from 1
to 3 p.m. on
What's in it for the Black People Media.
Tune in to Parenting in a Pandemic, powered by the Chicagoland Mom Squad, every Thursday at noon, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Rogers, let me ask a question. Do either that son or your grandson smell like transmission fluid? We trying to find Ruthie a husband. You funny niggas.
Trying to find Ruthie a husband.
We trying to find Ruthie a husband.
You heard that good, didn't
Let
you?
me ask you, Rogers, what does Ruthie need to do to find her a husband?
I listen to her little voice. I like that little passion voice she got.
Hey, she say...
I know you kind of small, ain't you?
Ruth, she said you got a pension?
Huh?
She said you got a
Look
pension?
here. I'm coming down to the... Where you on station located at? Where y'all located?
We down here in Bronzeville. Look, this is what we gonna do. We gonna get you. We gonna do a love connection off the line. Rogers, I want to tell you, man, thank you so much for calling.
You all downtown somewhere?
Yeah, we downtown. Ruth, I'm gonna put
Y'all talking about matter of fact, I'm gonna get the address. I'm gonna come into y'all station one morning.
we gonna have you come down. We gonna have you and Ruthie, and we gonna have you sit
I'm
right
an early bird anyway.
Ruthie, you can be the grandmama, the great grandmama of over 110 children.
I love big families.
You know what I'm saying? 110.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes.
And you can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now,
Somebody
Lord.
calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
Turn it around.
God's gonna turn it around.
Come all the way with me.
W-I-I-N.
Don't leave me now. Come all the way with me. Oh, please. Please. Please don't leave me now. Please don't leave me now. Please. From glory to Gethsemane, Gethsemane to Golgotha, Golgotha to the grave, from the grave back to glory. Glory to Gethsemane, Gethsemane to Golgotha, Golgotha to the grave, from the grave back to glory. Glory to Gethsemane, Gethsemane to Golgotha, Golgotha to the grave, from the grave. Glory to Gethsemane, Gethsemane to Golgotha, Golgotha to the grave, from the grave back to glory. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now. Come all the way with me.
What's happening, family? What's happening, family? What's happening, family? We are back and we are live from inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard in the production studio. Behind the glass doing all of the hard work is the one and only Miss Sonia Escobar. Killing it per usual. You ain't lying. I'm with you when you right, love. What's happening, Esco? How you?
What's up, guys?
Ain't nothing to it. How you feeling?
Hook me up to the road.
Huh?
To the Bluetooth.
Oh, yeah, it's already activated. You just gotta Bluetooth it. I got you.
Boom, bow, bang. You good though in there?
Yeah, I was a little tired, but I feel better.
All right, well, you know everything improves when we walk in.
It happened around 3:36, but yeah. Forsooth. Forsooth.
Whatever.
Word of the day.
Listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this Monday edition of I Say What I Said. We greatly appreciate all of you all for tuning in on today. Two, did you hear about what's wrong?
I can't find
Advanced
the Bluetooth connector.
settings.
I'm in there. I know how to connect it. It's not showing up.
It's a little wrong fault.
I'm listening to her. Did I hear about the what now?
I was gonna ask you, I know you heard about it, but the NYPD detective who, on his deathbed confessed
I killed Malcolm.
the truth about Malcolm X's assassination, which my honest opinion, if I'm keeping it a whole buck with y'all, much ado about nothing. That's just my personal opinion. I understand the other side was like, no, it's a big deal that the truth is out, but ain't we always known the truth? I don't need white folks to validate shit for me, right? And so is it another thing they gonna kind of not apologize about, kind of not really address? Nah, it's not like, I don't really think it's a real thing anyway. We've always known what happened. And we talked about this at the kickback too. Shout out to Gino for bringing this on up at the kickback. But we've always known. The autopsy told us that the trajectory of the bullets that killed Malcolm X were coming down. Any idea that somebody shot him from the ground, it's just not, the science doesn't support it. The science says the trajectory of the bullets were coming down. That's indisputable evidence. Man got an entry wound up here and exits down here. Like this, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I'm going to push back, though.
I know you are.
Right? And I'm going to push back because...
Shock of the day.
It's the same conversation we've been having all day, though, and that's why we got to take all of this stuff much more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Context is important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Fred Hampton movie comes out this week, and sometimes you get wrapped into this understanding of the world that you've created for yourself. But when the movie comes out, you realize that there's people in your peer group who don't know who Fred Hampton is.
100%.
Who had not this movie had not coming out, I'd have never known that because it wouldn't have been a topic of conversation amongst that peer group. You know what I mean? We have Herschel Walker at the congressional hearing on H.R. 40, and he's leveraging Dr. King quotes to justify not needing reparations. So he's creating the narrative and shaping it in the way that he wants, or whomever wrote that speech for him wants, right? So they create these narratives and they shape them the way they want. So just like
me too, Anthony. That was the first time I heard it too.
Even in that regard, like today I got a T-shirt on that says the Chicago police killed Fred Hampton. William O'Neal didn't kill Fred Hampton. The Chicago police killed Fred Hampton.
Be clear.
We can make William O'Neal the villain all we want, but the Chicago police killed Fred Hampton.
The FBI used the Chicago police to kill him.
I don't give a shit. White folks did it.
Right, 100%.
Right? And what happens is, going back to what I just said about Herschel Walker and going back to what I said about my little man corporate, right? It's easy to make the gangs the issue. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't have
fully understand white supremacy.
Nothing else. Until you fully understand white supremacy, everything you think you understand will only confuse you. So corporate makes a dope record about gangs. My man, gangs don't exist without the oppression that we are enduring since the beginning of time. Right? No disrespect to corporate.
No, corporate is smart and intelligent. His heart is in the right place.
Absolutely. But context is so very important. You know what I mean? Context is so very important. Right? There is poverty creates certain energies. It just does.
100%.
Right? Oppression, being abused, all this shit creates an energy. It's a responsive energy in most instances. You got to ask yourself sometimes, though, what are we responding to? Right? For every action, there's a reaction. For every cause, there's an effect. Right? We only dealing with one portion of the medium or the spectrum. right? And that is how oppression works. You start to blame yourself for your situation because you don't have context. You don't have an understanding of anything beyond what you're able to touch tangibly, see tangibly, feel tangibly. But all these other things are working in tangent to keep you in the position that you're in.
Yeah.
So we have a movie on Netflix or whatever that comes out a couple months ago and it says a brother in New Jersey killed Malcolm. And that becomes a running theme, right? And again, like I said, you keep pouring cream into the coffee. Eventually, you don't got coffee no more, right? All these guys was killed in the 60s, right? People in my peer group, born
5 years
later, don't know who these people are, right? So we got, my man, you was born in the 80s. You understand what I'm saying?
15 years later.
So kids is being born every day, big.
Right.
Right? So every time those stories gets a different niche on them. Even the Fred Hampton movie, when we come out of this, we don't even talk about the FBI. We had a whole conversation all last week. We talked about William O'Neal and Fred Hampton.
Right.
Right? But at the end of the day, it was the FBI and the Chicago police that killed Fred Hampton.
It's the barrel.
And that was a 17-year-old boy.
It's the crabs and barrel you talk about all the time, bro. We focus on the barrel.
We focused
so the gangs is the barrel. William O'Neal is the barrel.
We focused on
the crab in the barrel.
And not recognizing the barrel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
So the barrel is still in play. And we always got to talk about the barrel because the barrel is what creates the context for the crab.
That's what's abnormal.
That's what's
the problem
abnormal,
here.
right?
Okay.
So everybody who's listened to the radio or listened to the station since last week know the name William O'Neal. How many of them Chicago police officers that are probably, some of them alive still?
Sure, why wouldn't they be? You talking about 20-something-year-old white boys?
That live and shop with y'all, with us. We probably didn't run across these people. How many of them names you know? You know what I'm saying? But we didn't villainize the William O'Neal. And I'm not validating or heralding William O'Neal.
Yeah, because he's a clown.
He's a snake.
They're going to find a bunch of them.
Right? He's a snake. And I'm not validating that energy. Nowhere. You know what I mean? But the people who pulled the trigger are amongst us.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you don't tell your own story, when you don't control your own narrative. Somebody else tells you that. And so we shouldn't be like, nope, there shouldn't be a movie that comes out in 2021 to tell you shit about Fred Hampton that you didn't already know. As a black person growing up in this country, that is a sin and a failure on the part of every black person that is older than you. Every single one of them. Any black person younger than me that didn't know everything they needed to know about Fred Hampton, I take ownership and responsibility for the fact that they didn't, right? Every black person older than you, if you don't know that shit, that's all our fault. You know what I'm saying? So shouldn't none of these movies be able to tell you shit? You can make the movie and we'll watch it, but I already know everything I need to know about Fred Hampton. That should be our truth. That should be our reality. It's not, right? Even you talk about Spike Lee and making Malcolm X. Every black person should have already known everything there was to know even before the movie. It should just be part of your natural education growing up. I taught you how to tie your fucking shoes. I taught you how to wash your hands. I taught you how to count to 10. I taught you the alphabet. I taught you how to write your name. I taught you who the fuck Fred Hampton was, who Malcolm X was, who Dr. King was in a real way, not just the I Have a Dream watered down version. That is our responsibility. And we can talk about the miseducation of the Negro all we want. Factual as that is, when do we take responsibility for educating our own selves, right? And that is fully understanding that each generation has been miseducated. So I understand, like I understand why it didn't happen. But to the point you make all the time, at what point do you cease to become a victim and begin to become a volunteer?
But I also think that's why we need to be gun-ho and going hard with the ADOS construct.
Agreed.
Right, because it creates and shapes that identity. It's not fluid. It's not all-encompassing. It's not open to everything. It's a closed-door policy. Either you in this group or you ain't in this group. And what's important to this group? How is this group forged? What's the history of this group? Right, but it goes because we don't have that context, because we don't have that anchoring, we deny what we've done on this soil, reaching back for an aspirational belief in kings and queens of Africa. Right, so even in the context of we're in February and it being Black History Month, right, when you go into any public school in America, specifically where there are black children, because of the shame associated with slavery, as if it was our goddamn fault, right? Well, on every board you're going to see your history didn't start at slavery. You were of kings and queens. Well, I call bullshit. Your history did start at slavery. And it's still fucking remarkable. And let's deal with it from there. You can't say you attached to no kings and queens. And you can say it for sure, right? You attached to them in the same context that a white man is attached to it. Because everybody's roots is in Africa. The first human existence roots was in Africa. Everybody. So yeah, we all attached to that. Great. But when we talking about black, I know everybody likes to leverage the moniker once they come here, but black is not an international term in that context. Or at least it was started here.
It's not a real, it's not a real thing
was
like
created
that.
Here, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Elijah Muhammad that started the term black. I think it was Elijah who incorporated the terminology of black.
I'll defer to you on that. I don't know.
I think he did.
Okay.
I think it was Elijah. Right. So if Elijah Muhammad created the terminology, you surely can't go back to Angola and say we the same shit. No, I'm not with it. Right. So there's value in being of this country. Right. There's value in us controlling our narrative. There's value in us shaping these stories. Right. So even the diaspora, I'm with it. But the diaspora has their own traditions, their own history, their own cultures. Right. So we should protect ours the way that they protect theirs. You know what I mean? So there's this joke early on, and it's Harry Belafonte talking about Sidney Poitier. And they say Harry Belafonte would get a call from a movie or studio about playing an African. And they was like, can you do an African accent? And Harry Belafonte, because he wasn't ignorant, would say, an African from where? Because all of the accents ain't the fucking same. Right? And the studio or the producers would be confused because they don't even see it. They didn't value it like Harry Belafonte valued it.
Biggest plot of land on earth.
Right?
Everybody's supposed to be like...
But he would laugh because Sidney Poitier would be like, yeah, fuck it, I can do it. Because it was all universal.
Nobody knows.
It was all universal for Sidney Poitier. Yeah, I could do it. But it's also showing his lack of respect for the differences in the cultures.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Harry Belafonte was just acknowledging, hey, man, this ain't no one thing. Right? So this ain't no one thing. So when we get Herschel Walker talking the shit he's talking, it's because he's ignorant. Right? And it's because we haven't shaped the said one thing. Right. So when we get to the context of the William O'Neills and the even the police that killed Malcolm, those are not. I'm not gonna say those are not universal diaspora experiences. You know, you can leverage the Mandelas, you can leverage, Stephen Biko, you can leverage different people throughout the diaspora that they had to deal with.
Yeah, you don't have to address that shit to address our shit.
Right.
Like fuck,
but it's
your shit is your shit. Y'all have y'all experiences. Y'all have y'all trials and tribulations. We're talking about ours.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Right. It's just not the same. So in that vein, let's anchor ourselves in and own our narratives. You know what I mean? But again, we've got to start taking control and ownership of that role. Right? Because the cream is getting way to the fucking top. It's starting to look like milk, my nigga. Right? Coffee out, it ain't in there no more. It's starting to look like, you could ask a kid walking down 79th Street right now today and say, who's Martin Luther King? And you'd be hard pressed to get an answer.
But you see it play out in every aspect of our society. And so for me, it's no surprise when you see it play out at those levels too. Because I've been saying for years now, every single year I get what? You want what?
I want you to pull up that Kemet comic because I don't have it up on my thing trying to wait to play this video.
You want me to read it?
No, I just want you to open it up so I can read the rest of it.
Oh, there you go. What was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, every single year I get upset because we always get to the Oscars or we get to the Grammys and some black artist, some black actor, some black actress is got their panties in a bunch because they weren't validated by whiteness this year. And it pisses me off every fucking year because like you get Halle Berry stand up at the Oscars when she finally won for Monsters Ball, which wasn't even one of her top 5 roles in my opinion, right? She wasn't half the actress in Monster Ball as she was in, say, Losing Isaiah, right? But she stands up there and she's crying. And it's for Dorothy Dandridge. And it's for... Fuck them people, fam. Like, I've known for a very long time that Denzel Washington was dope. I know you have a different opinion. I'm not trying to have that discussion. Denzel Washington is fucking dope. I didn't need the Academy Awards to validate that shit for me. So them finally giving it to him for Training Day, that don't mean shit to me. But what it does go to what it does go to show is how much we are still dependent upon white validation for our own excellence, for our own achievements, as though Halle Berry wasn't a validated actress or Denzel Washington wasn't a validated actor until the fucking Academy Award said so. We don't need their validation for our truths, for our narratives. But because we act like we do in every other aspect of our society, why would our history be any different? We need their validation. We seek it constantly. And until we find a way to get away from that, they're going to continue to leverage that and use it against us. We don't need that shit. Fuck your Oscar and fuck your Grammy. I'm not upset you didn't give it to me. I expect you to give it to the white dude. It's y'all shit. Fuck that. I don't need it. I'm not, you know what I mean? But we every single, I'm going to protest. I'm going to boycott the Oscars. No, the fuck you not. You're going to be pissed off at another black actor next year that didn't get it. About another black actor that didn't get it next year. Like, stop seeking that type of validation. It is unnecessary. We don't need it. It's uncalled for. But that's how we move. That's how we move on the regular. And until we stop, that will be how things go. Anyway, you got the video for the
It's up. I'm ready when y'all ready.
All right. Sko, you good in there? All right, cool. Let's run it.
FBI played a role in the assassination of Malcolm X. There's a newly released deathbed confession letter. It's from Raymond Wood, an African-American former undercover police officer who claims it was his job to infiltrate civil rights groups and that he was in the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem at the time of the assassination. It was 56 years ago today. Details of that letter were made public by his cousin.
Ray told me not to let him take this to his grave, but to please wait until he passed away to come forward with this information. This letter helps me to understand the pain and guilt that Ray felt for the last 55 years. He conspired to help the NYPD assassinate Malcolm X.
Malcolm X's daughters are calling on the Manhattan DA to look into these new claims. The NYPD reacted with this statement several months ago. The Manhattan DA initiated a review of the investigation and prosecution that resulted in 2 convictions for the murder of Malcolm X. The NYPD has provided all available records relevant to that case to the DA. The department remains committed to assist with that review in any way. The Manhattan DA said this: our office's review of this matter is active and ongoing. And NBC's Pete Williams reached out to the FBI for a comment, but so far we've not heard from the agency. But joining me now, my friend, the Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network and host of Politics Nation here on MSNBC. Rev, we got some stuff to get to here, but these claims, first of all, they are hard to verify, but what do you make of them today?
Well, this
that
is
little
something
bullshit caveat.
that many of Malcolm X's family has thought and feared for years. I was only 9 years old when Malcolm was killed, but I got to know his widow very well. She was godmother of my daughters, and she had always said that she felt that they could not have assassinated Malcolm without law enforcement cooperation. It is all known throughout the civil rights movement, Dr. King and others, of all kinds of assassination plots. And there's fear even to this day that many of us involved in civil rights have had unfair scrutiny and unfair activity. But I think that for this to come forward now, where you have Reginald Wood's nephew bringing a almost deathbed confession, is something that can be not be ignored. And if the DA has reopen the case of the assassination of Malcolm X. Certainly this adds a lot of weight to a lot of us that are wondering what exactly happened 50 some odd years ago.
Yeah, today. Okay.
Yeah, man. That's, first of all.
So just for clarity's sake for me, the guy speaking at the podium said his cousin
was the detective
on his deathbed admitted to being a part of.
I thought you was finna run it back.
No, I'm not. The plot to kill Malcolm. I'm assuming.
Talking about the cop.
His cousin was a black cop.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. I just wanted clarity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, don't mean too much to me. Black people killed him.
How do you?
That's what I'm asking. Is that? I mean, I'm clear. Still black people, right?
Wait, did he say that the cop confessed to being the shooter?
He was just part of the plot.
Right.
So, why are you in the room?
Why is who in the room? I'm trying to follow you. Okay.
I'm asking you the question. This guy's cousin admitted to being part of the plot to kill Malcolm.
Yes.
There's also was the admittance of the brothers from the NOI in Jersey that said, "Hey, I shot Malcolm." Well, they didn't say, "Hey, I shot Malcolm," but it was like a secret that everybody knew about.
Right.
Some more black people in Jersey. Right. So you got this whole black plot to kill Malcolm. Some more William O'Neills.
Yeah, but like you just said 15 minutes ago, it ain't William O'Neill. It's CPD.
No, it's all of
It's
them.
the FBI.
It's all of them. It's all of them, though. It's all of them. Again, even when I said it wasn't William O'Neill who shot him, it doesn't disregard his position in the plot. Right?
For sure.
But
I think even this dude who's up here reading the thing, he begged me not to say nothing until he died. You can't beg me not to say shit. The moment I found out, I'm out with it.
Oh, maybe I didn't even hear that part. I thought he said it. He made a statement on his deathbed.
The letter, but then he said he said in the thing. He said he begged me not to reveal this until he was dead.
Oh, man, fuck them people. Man.
But yeah, but my thing is like, it ain't no. This ain't no news to me. Like, if anybody just if anybody just like watch that video, like, damn, the police killed Malcolm X, the FBI killed Malcolm X. If you just realized that today, we got a whole ass problem. Yeah, they use some black people, just like they did with Fred Hampton. But this ain't news to me. Now, if it gets somebody a check or something, then fine, go ahead and get somebody a check. I ain't tripping, right? But other than that, this don't tell me shit I ain't know. What it pisses me off that these people do the most cowardly thing possible and come out with this truth on your deathbed. Like, I don't know if it's a religious thing, and I was saying this Sunday at the kickback, I don't know if it's a religious thing that's like, oh, this is my last ditch effort to try and get into heaven. Let me get this layup off my chest before I check up out of here. Or what? But fam, you goofy ass white lady who lied on Emmett Till, all this deathbed confession shit don't mean nothing. Fuck you. You lived your whole life peacefully and obscurely holding on to this truth.
It means a lot.
What does it mean?
It means
what does it mean that they coming out with this shit on their deathbed?
It means everything to the coward. It validates him. Even in the William O'Neill statement that he made, which was perplexing as hell to me. Perplexing to me.
That he was in the movement.
But it validated him. I mean, in his mind, I don't see no other way around that statement.
But he committed suicide.
Maybe.
I accept that.
Maybe.
I accept that. Maybe.
You know what I mean? You really don't know.
I accept that. Maybe.
Potentially, you don't know.
No, that's real.
Right?
Yeah.
But for him to make the statement that he made, for me, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? But in his mind, it made perfect sense. And for that very reason, it validated his life.
You think people can fight in heaven?
I don't think heaven exists. I think this is heaven and hell right now. You choose. I think this is it. This is the moment. And I think we've been sold a false bill of rights to wait on some shit that happened after you die while white people is living in heaven right now. It enforces that coward behavior on you.
Yeah, but I would just like to believe that when this goofy ass dude with this deathbed confession, when he get his goof ass to wherever he's going, that Malcolm be there like, what's up, fam?
Energy don't die.
Just beat his goof ass.
Right? The spirit of Malcolm lives here. The spirit of all of us lives here. That's part of the, again, I know this is going a little bit deep for our show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I know how black people is about religion.
Come on.
All that shit is mythical to me.
Okay.
Right? And all that shit is about control and power and control, right? While we on earth praying and praying and praying and wishing and wishing and wishing for some shit that's going to happen to you when you die.
Mm-hmm.
While there are people experiencing that shit you waiting to happen till you die now. Fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, man, I get you. I'm certainly not religious in any way. I'm quite spiritual. I do believe that there's a creator of all of this shit. I do believe in the God within myself as well to create my own reality and dictate my own outcomes to a certain extent. But there's just a lot of shit as in my own life. As I look back on my own life, there's just a lot of shit that I can't explain. But for some other power being there to be like, for whatever reason, I like this motherfucker. Keep him around.
Imagine you being that power. Imagine you being that power. You ever been in a car accident?
I've been in a very, very, very serious car accident.
You ever notice how time slows down in car accidents?
It's a second seems like an hour.
Right? You think some mythical creature came in and said, pause the tape and run in slow motion, or you think that's your mind creating the environment for you to survive that, so everything becomes slow, so you can make faster decisions.
I don't know. I know that I've seen a car balled up like a piece of paper, and I know that I walked out of that car. Like after it was going 80 miles an hour, fell off the side of the I-57, half mile down an embankment, knocked over dozens of trees until we hit one that was hard enough to stop that car, and the car wrapped around it and balled up, and the car was unrecognizable the next time I saw it again. But I climbed out of the back window of that car. That's all. Like that's all I know.
I'm not doubting the experience. I think the vast majority of humans on this planet have had certain experiences. I would give you
Sure.
a better one, right? My father died in my home, right? After being in the coma for XYZ amount of time. I don't even know how long, right? My baby girl was just born too. You've been in my crib, right? So we set up hospitals in the first floor of my crib.
Okay.
Right? My daughter was just born. She was on the third floor.
I know your father died in that house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She my daughter was first born on and she was on that third floor. He came from the hospital barely able to put his pants on.
Sure.
Right? Heard my daughter crying one night, and I woke up to go deal with my daughter, and my daddy was sitting in her room with my daughter on his lap.
On the third floor?
On the third floor. Man, he couldn't put his pants on the day before. Right? So the energy in my house was different than that in which he was in the hospital or even at his own house because there was an expectation of death. But in my house, there was this new life. And there was an energy of new life. And his energy responded to said energy and gave him probably another 9 months of life. Not just 9 months of life just living in
not just in vegetable state. Right.
9 months of a viable life. From one day not being able to walk up
put his pants
staircase. Put his pants on to walking up 3 flights of stairs. Right? Because the energy shifted. You know what I mean? There's no superhero come and change that energy. He walked into that energy and he adjusted himself. I mean, this is a different conversation than
I'm with you.
We traditionally have.
I like it a lot.
You know, I believe we're in control of that personally.
I don't necessarily disagree. You know what I mean? I'm just, you know, there are just things that you look back on. It's like, yo, somebody was with my goof ass, right? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so I if nothing else, if I'm 100% wrong about, you know, spirituality and the creator and all of that, if nothing else, it makes me feel better to think that there is a higher power that is watching over me.
Bless your heart.
Indeed, bless my heart. Indeed, bless my heart. Because it makes me feel better for that.
That's cool.
And you know, if the
But
reality
also-
is just that I am just this,
But in some ways, you got to acknowledge that it takes away power too. It relinquishes power from you, right? It just does. And you are one thing, but we got to be honest about
this is a hat. This thing keeps you
how
warm.
how religion plays a part in our community, right?
Shout out to the bigs. Jesus, that hat is warm.
Religion becomes a staple. You know what I mean? It's like a crutch at some levels. You know, I think it was Magda who bought in had somebody in here doing spiritual reading. Maze was like, I don't want that in here. Why?
Now, a lot of people like that. A lot of people don't like that witchcraft stuff, and because of religion.
It's witchcraft because of white supremacy. You understand what I'm saying? But you invested in this Jesus character. That seems like more witchcraft to me.
So in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to find this on a commercial break in the 5 o'clock hour. We are going to play George Carlin talking about religion and talking about God and all of this, because he does it in a way that is simultaneously hilarious and powerful. Like, you know what I mean? Just making it plain. And he comes from a place where, like, you know, I used to be super religious and I was in the church all the time. And he's like, now I'm not, I don't believe in it. And he goes into, I believe in this mythical character. Let's live it in the sky. It's just the way he does it is fire. So I'll find it. We'll put it up sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. But I understand you too. You know, I have the Footprints poem tattooed on my right forearm. And I think most people are familiar with the Footprints poem. And I just have the last part of it on my forearm that says, during your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. And mine says God underneath it. And when the first time I saw that poem, and I feel like I had saw it, you know, many times throughout my life, but the first time I really read it and understood it, changed my life. It changed my perspective on it. And so I was like, I have to constantly remind myself of that piece, because I had reached a point in my life where I was just completely a non-believer. I was like, no, this don't make sense. Like, how does this happen? How does that happen? How does this happen? You know, if there's really a God. And I read that poem in that moment, and for some reason it resonated different for me then than it had ever resonated before. And it's just this you know the poem, right? You familiar with it at least? Right. Where the dude is like, he sees all of his life events flashing across the sky.
Hey man, my grandma was baby Jesus. It ain't like I don't understand it. I just don't rock with it.
I'm not, and trust me, I'm not trying to convince you or nobody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you what it is for me. And for me, like, you can keep all of the rituals and all of the command. You keep all that shit. Like, all the stories in the Bible, I think they're useful. I think that they are great parables and stuff like that you can, you know, draw some inspiration from and motivation out of. But as far as them being, you know, accurate depictions of something that took place, whatever. You know what I mean? But this idea that there is a higher power, even when I'm just traveling, bro, there's just certain things I see that's like, there's no fucking way a Big Bang made this. Big Bang my ass. Like, fuck that. Like, that's not a real thing. These mountains, this water, the sky, this sunset,
but
there is a creator
it's more
here.
Believable that a motherfucker in the sky made it?
See, the motherfucker in the sky shit sounds weird.
I'm just saying, it sounds weird to me too.
Listen, the motherfucker in the sky shit sounds weird, right? So like this hovering thing in the sky, whatever, right? But a creator, yeah. So I believe somebody created this shit, not a Big Bang. I don't really believe that.
Hey man,
I don't really believe. That's just not
I
what
don't
I
even
believe.
like getting these conversations because I know people hold this shit close to their heart.
Who cares? People hold a lot of shit close to their heart. People hold white supremacy close to their heart. We talk about it every day.
I don't really give a shit about that because personally in my life, it doesn't have an effect in my life. White supremacy is tangible. It has an effect in my life. You know what I mean? So I don't invest in those kind of conversations because they don't really lead you nowhere. And it don't matter enough to me to care.
No, it does. Because that's how we got here. We didn't just pull this topic out the sky.
I made a statement. I was gonna keep going though.
No. But it's
I was looking over there.
That's fine. It's a continuum though. It's a continuum. That is how we got to this part of the conversation. From white supremacy, and you said how religion is used as a tool within it. Right? So it is connected. It ain't disconnected from the rest of that shit. It's this if that is the tool that is being used, then it is absolutely connected.
It's a tool.
And so yeah, it is a valuable part of the conversation. And so, you know, To each their own. Whatever brings you. I don't give. Listen. You know how I feel. You could worship fucking crack pipe if you want. If that's what you want.
There's people out here that do worship it.
I know.
And there's people who worship the dollars in their pocket.
And I love them.
You can lie to me all you want. The God that you believe in is in your fucking pocket. That's the God you believe in.
Are you telling me to play Test Your Work? Or? No, not my key. Oh, sorry.
No, don't play Test Your Work.
Okay,
Don't play Test Your Work.
I don't know if we're gonna get to Test Your Work today. We might. I don't know that we're gonna get to Test Your Work today. But either way, but Test Your Work, let me tell you something, man. We are making that song more famous than those niggas.
I know, we need to get some money off of it.
Like, we are making that song more famous. Like, I'm hearing people having these conversations with their husbands about it and just constantly talking about the show. Constantly talking about the song.
Sadiq,
people that ain't never seen the show.
Hey, Sadiq is in the comments talking. He doesn't care.
That's you.
I know.
That's you. That is you.
I know that.
That is you.
I was at the movies trying to get some popcorn. Like, let me Test Your Work.
It pops up. It pops up everywhere. But listen, we're trendsetters, man. This is where this thing sets trends, man. So even the fuck your fort little nigga, like, that shit takes off and goes everywhere. The "You're Not My Dad" shit, which Esco did that shit. That shit is hilarious, right? Like, but things happen on Is Wiz and they translate everywhere. You see them pop up on the Ruthie Moore Show and elsewhere.
Steve said you gotta say pause. He said you gotta say pause.
No, I don't. I know he's talking about Big Bang Theory, and no, I don't.
Big Bang my ass.
I love that shit.
I knew exactly what he's talking about. I knew exactly what he was talking about. As soon as you said it, I knew what he was talking about. I didn't see the comment,
God.
but as soon as you said it, I knew exactly what you were talking about. I don't say pause, and here's why I don't say pause.
Because it's from New York. We'll rock with that.
Not even just because it's from New York, because Chicago people say it a lot. I don't say pause because, correct me if I'm wrong, people who do say pause. Y'all say pause to distinguish when you're not saying something gay from what? From when you are saying something gay? Nothing I'm ever saying is homosexual. So therefore, I never feel the need to distinguish it from anything else I say. So I can only conclude that if y'all have to distinguish, hey, I'm not saying anything gay here. When are you saying something gay? Me, I'm never saying something gay, so I don't say pause.
How do you say something gay?
Ask somebody who says something gay.
There's no such thing. It's like talking white. It's not a real thing.
No, literally, you said something gay.
I'm asking, how do you say something gay?
Like, look at dude over there. He fine as hell. He could get this work. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's gay.
Yes.
That's gay, fam.
Esco, please have that recorded. That thing.
You can record whatever you want.
I'm stacking.
You can record. You can record. You can run it back whatever you want. It's never gonna make me feel like I'm a homosexual.
I just had to Google a Celine word.
It just doesn't do that for me. I don't say pause for that reason.
How do you pronounce it?
GAY.
Transmogrified.
Transmogrified. What is that?
That was a Celine word. I had to Google before I could understand the statement.
Celine said something today on the Maze Jackson show that it was, I can't even remember what the word was. Like polemia, something. I don't know. I was like, what? What is that word?
Transform in surprising or magical way.
What was the word?
Transmogrified.
And it was to transform or what?
It's to transform in a surprising or magical manner. This mythical creature in the sky. But I got to go find the comment again so I can reread it and understand what he was saying.
Yeah, you got to go back. You got to double back on the Celine comment all the time. You got to double back on it.
Copy and paste it.
You got to double back on it every time. You got to read it, put it in the dictionary, then reread it, and then read it slower. Then you'll get it. About third time, now you with Celine. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. That makes sense. You got to. You got it? You gonna try it?
No. I'm gonna let it rock.
You're not gonna give it a shot?
I'm cool.
Pause. You can do it.
I know I can. I'm God. I can do this.
That's where we at. Anyway, man, I just wanted to have that conversation about the Malcolm X thing because one, I just wanted to say that the people who do that, you're a coward, right? I don't care what your truth is. Like if you feel the need to get it off your chest on your deathbed, you're a clown for that. You're a coward for that. You've been wanting to get it off. Get it off. What's getting it off on your deathbed gonna do? For what? What we doing? This dude
absolving himself for the guilt, man.
But are you really?
I'm sure he was.
No.
I'm sure he was.
I mean, that's what he was trying to do. But do you feel he's less guilty?
It ain't about how I feel. He's about to die. So in his mind, he wanted to relinquish his guilt into the atmosphere, whatever.
So he can go be with God.
So he could go be with this Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy. And Malcolm X could beat his ass as soon as he walked through the gates.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Mythical. Hey,
people go hate.
You better stop playing, man.
They'll shut us off for that.
You better stop playing, man. you need to stop.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
For the light start flashing in. Mythical Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy. I ain't fucking with you at all. The thoughts and opinions of Toussaint Werner are of those of Toussaint Werner and Toussaint Werner alone. Herb.
I'm going to get a Mythical Sky Daddy tattoo on my forearm.
Mythical Sky with a cross.
And Mythical Sky Daddy I trust.
Hey, that's next level funny. Except not.
WW.
That is www. What would Mythical Sky Daddy do?
What would Mythical Sky Daddy
you.
We need to make this shirt.
What would Mythical Sky Daddy do? So I didn't think we would get to test your work today. I think we might actually get to test your work because y'all clown too much. Y'all play all day around here. Nothing is sacred to y'all.
We're gonna all be in detention. This is not looking good.
Nothing is. James Brown is in here. That's what's up. Nothing is sacred to y'all.
I thought he was with Mythical Sky Daddy
You
already.
know what? You know what?
Mythical Sky Daddy is saying.
You're right, Candace. You're right, Candace. You're right. Let me move over. Because fool, he finna get struck by lightning any second now. So I'm gonna do the show from here.
What would Mythical Sky Daddy do?
What would Mythical Sky Daddy do? Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints.
Over.
And see, y'all co-sign this shit. Sadiq, R.O. Double, all y'all. The whole family, something is wrong with y'all.
I'm gonna pray for y'all.
Yeah. I try my hardest to wrangle y'all in.
I'm cool
every
with Mythical
day.
Sky Daddy, man. I ain't tripping. I just don't rock with him. Actually, I rock with Mythical Sky Daddy. It's the one y'all rock with, I'll rock with.
Isn't that some like candy?
Hey, man, I'm over here, fam. I'm not even fucking with you at all, bro.
Mythical Sky Daddy is some cool shit. Okay.
Scope. Can we please take a break? When we come back?
Yep.
Hopefully, two will have found Jesus. My name is Herb. His name is the Antichrist. We'll be right back.
Is that Mythical Sky Daddy's son?
Whatever.
Mythical Sky Daddy Jr.
Whatever.
What's up, good people? You're listening to I Said What I Said with Toussaint Werner and Herb Howard. You'll never breed a warrior.
Mm-hmm. Warriors, come out to play.
You hear that? And that's what's happening at every angle. They're creating paradigms where we can only raise feminine men.
Yes.
Whether they're homosexual or not, they feminine as shit.
Sure, because all masculinity is toxic.
All masculinity is toxic in a war-torn society where the dominant society is saying to your ass, we don't never want no warriors.
Right.
You bastards. Any book you've ever read, you can read the Bible, goddammit. When they go and they destroy some shit, they kill all the boy babies.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even want you growing up to think you're going to do some shit to me.
Animals do the same thing. If I come over here and I take over this village now or whatever, like this gonna be my pride. First thing I'm doing, killing the male boys, like killing the male babies.
Don't you even grow up with that attitude,
Don't you
little
even think about it. Okay?
Bitch.
Right. You ain't my daddy, you damn right I ain't your daddy. Fuck your fort, little nigga.
Fuck your fort.
You're not my dad.
That's fucked up. Oh man, I hate that I laugh at this shit in public.
That's real.
I hate that I laugh at this stuff in public.
That's real though, right? Toussaint Werner and Herb Howard live on What's in It for the Black People Media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Sissy's Taco Bar Pop-Up is back with more hours and more days. Check them out at their new pop-up location at the Woodlawn, located 1200 East 79th Street. Sissy's Taco Bar offers authentic street tacos infused with international soul. Now every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Woodlawn from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. New vegan tacos have been added to the menu too. Visit sissytacobar.com for more info.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning.
Live on the line, we have the newly appointed State Senator Doris Turner. Welcome to the Maze Jackson Show. How are you, Senator Turner?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I really feel like I have arrived now that I'm on the Maze Jackson Show. It's a dream I never thought would happen. You know, in every office that I have held, I served 10 years on the Sangamon County Board. Then I served 2.5 terms on the Springfield City Council. And in each one of those positions, I have never represented a district that was a majority district. But every day I've gone to work to ensure that African Americans in those districts received equitable treatment and that the legislation that I pushed was beneficial to the entire district, but beneficial to the African Americans that lived in that district, because these are people that for too long have not had a voice. When I was there and I was their voice, I wanted to make sure that everything that I did was going to move my community forward. And that's always been first and foremost in my mind, and that will continue to happen. If you look at ordinances and legislation that I have championed, drafted, and passed, you will see that thread running through there. Everything that happened with the legalization of cannabis in Springfield, I led that and came out of that with a lot of successes. And one of the things that I am most proud of that came out of that was we put the 3% municipal tax on there, but 1.5% of that money will always go to a very specific area of Springfield that is the heart of the East Side.
You mentioned cannabis, but what we've seen is that there has been no access to cannabis for black folks.
We've had to go back and do 2 fixes already. I think that everyone knew that that was going to happen. But, you know, going forward, it's one of those things that, you know, when you know what you know, there'll be more eyes and ears on a lot of things. So I am very committed to that.
Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson.
All right, well, Angela Oyafumike. As you know, this is I Do, I Did, I Don't on the What's in It for the Black People media. Start our way into this journey of divorce and healing.
So we came together under a survival mentality, not under a friendship of being in love. First being friends, and then being in love, of growing in love. We came together under, we're trying to survive, we're 2 kids trying to survive. Okay, we're going to survive together, because if you're handling this end of the survival and I'm handling this end,
years that you've accepted this is what it's been, and now you've made this decision, and he wasn't there. He wasn't even seeing that you were done.
Here's what it was. Just like I ignored on the front end that he didn't love me like that, he was so disconnected from me by the point when I decided to leave that he didn't see the writing on the wall.
Wow.
Just didn't see it. But he didn't know that woman because he never took the time to meet her.
Mm-hmm. And so you created your plan, and that's key, I think, in having a plan. If you are going to, whether you're deciding together that this isn't going to work any longer and we're splitting, and having a plan on how you're going to move forward is pretty key. You knew at this point I had to create your own plan, and you were moving forward with that. In my case, I didn't have a plan. Things happened pretty abruptly, and I was creating the plan on the fly along the way. I don't recommend that. You forgive yourself. You forgive you. Do the work of forgiving yourself that you may be able to actually forgive others.
That's why we shine wherever we go. 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 Lord, Lord. Welcome to the mind of a pothead. On my head, see a young nigga got dressed. We don't give a fuck what the cop said. I'm living a legacy. So even when I die, I am not dead. Nigga, I am not dead. Fuck with me.
Sky Daddy. Sky is the limit. 112 is the second best R&B group of all time. Right after who, too? That's right, Boyz II Men. You got it. Good call. Listen, good people, we are back and we are live. We are inside the What's in It for the Black People Media Studios alongside my esteemed co-host. His name is Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. Behind the glass in the production studio doing what she does better than anybody else on the face of this planet is Sonia Escobar. Esco, you good? She tried to throw the napkin. She tried to throw the towel back at me. During the break, y'all may or may not have saw me throw a towel toward the production studio at Esco. She looked up, she saw the towel coming her way, and she tried to catch it.
I swear.
Never mind the fact there's a whole glass. There's no way I could throw this towel at her. But she tried to catch it, and it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, man, thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to tune in to be a part of this conversation. We are certainly aware that y'all could be doing literally anything else. The fact that y'all have chosen to hang out with us is something that we do not take for granted, and we are very, very grateful for. Thank y'all very, very much for tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, tuning in on YouTube. We are appreciative of your time. We are appreciative of your input and your attention to this very, very important conversation. We think it's the blackest conversation in America, and we certainly could not and would not have it without you. I want to address something that came from the sister Nyla, at least that we noticed over the break. I don't know when it came. Shout out to Sister Nyla, too, for always checking into the conversation and keeping us accountable. Nyla said, hey, y'all not coming through with the dollars on the cursing words today. What the heck is wrong with y'all? Y'all said y'all was coming through with cursing with $1 for every curse word. Y'all got to be people of y'all words. If you ain't a man of your word, you ain't shit. And y'all can't be disrespecting the ancestors like that.
I was keeping count.
Nyla, you are 1,000% right.
And now I'm not. You didn't appreciate it.
You were mostly right. I know you didn't see us putting dollars in, but Nyla, we would never. We would never do such a thing as to disrespect the ancestors, do something that we say we was going to do in honor of the ancestors. No, we play with y'all like that, right? Y'all have been coming through and sending y'all bread, and so we will continue to do what we said we were going to do throughout the entire month, and every single dollar remains in here, as it will. And
in that vein, too, I was thinking about something, man, while we on the subject. Because of what's going on in Texas, right? There are families that are in need of water. There are families that are in need of hygiene products. And there are a couple of trucks that is going out between today and Wednesday from Chicago. I forget the guy who was on Major Show earlier. Mm-hmm. But we should probably go rock that right
Howard.
now and go get some water and some perishables for the trucks and just donate it right now and then just re-up at the end of the month and deal with another charity.
Send that down there. You want to do that?
I think it makes sense.
I mean,
we can ask the audience.
I'm down for whatever you want to do or whatever anybody wants to do in that vein. I'm always more I'm always like work where you at.
No, in the moment though,
be where your feet are. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that for this reason in this particular thing. Now, if you're talking about going to Battle Supplies and putting it on the truck and taking it right there, cool. But when we talk about send this money to Red Cross, send this money to whatever. Y'all, we paying people salaries.
These real people.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't here to take Izwiz's money and pay nobody's salary. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's gonna reach somebody home, then we can reach somebody home, and I'm cool with that. Otherwise,
and we wouldn't
otherwise I know for a fact what TJ does. On a yearly basis. I know for a fact what Emerald Green does with the sandwich ministry. I know for a fact where every penny of that is gonna go. So either I'm cool, but
I'm just saying in the moment of need,
I'll be having reservations about some of that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with whatever.
But either way, here's another $20 to add to the thing, to the pot for the day, and we will continue to add it. I don't know where it is right now, but I would imagine let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, 2, 3. So we are at 160, 170, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 180. Thank you, Esco. 180. So that's 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 210. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 220. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 230. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 240. 241, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. $249 has been raised by the I Said What I Said family over the course of this month, and it will all be donated to a worthy cause. So
What's the date today? The 21st?
today is, I don't know. Don't ask me no question like that. What does that say on the thing? It's the 22nd.
22?
Yeah, that thing says the 22nd.
She says 22?
222.
In room 222?
222.21. 222.21. $249 in the cuss job fund.
So that means we're averaging 11.3 cusses per day.
Well, minus the weekends.
Yeah, whatever.
There it is. Thank you so much, Nyla, for making sure that we are staying on task and holding us accountable. We appreciate we appreciate it. There is Tool, you done being blasphemous, or you still on that? Because you done got half your cousins in here with you. Because you know all of them is fools too.
I'm not being blasphemous. I believe in God. I just don't believe in mythical Sky Daddy.
You believe in Toussaint.
That's right. I see him every day.
Somebody else believes in God, not so much. Did you pull up the video? Actually, pull up.
It's right here, ready to go.
You do know I can see your computer screen?
I know, but I can't open this up until I don't like playing until we plan it.
All right, well, come on, let's roll with it, man. Because we're about to play is a video of George Carlin. George Carlin is one of my favorite comedians. If you're not familiar with him, he passed. I want to say recently, maybe sometime in the last 5 years or so. He passed away.
We're gonna get flagged when we play this. You know that, right?
For playing this video?
It's George
off
Carlin.
YouTube?
It's George Carlin.
It ain't a George Carlin DVD. It's a YouTube thing.
It's George Carlin. We're going to get flagged.
It's Jesus. We're going to get flagged. Run it.
Esco said only play a little bit.
Cool. Run it.
So then, wait, because we're going to have to do this strategic. Esco, let it play for a minute. Stop it, then let it play again.
Yeah, like 25 seconds. Stop. Talk over it.
Oh, okay. We got to talk over it. Because I hate not having our stuff up. So we're going to talk over it.
Okay, well, can we run
Every time he tells a joke, I'm going to say, Mythical Sky Daddy.
Clergyman. Because I got to tell you the truth, folks. I got to tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe. In awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Religion easily has the greatest bullshit story ever told.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Religion.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Convinced people that there's an invisible man
in the sky
who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do.
Mythical Sky Daddy rules.
These 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
But he loves you. We'll leave it right there, man. George Carlin is one of the very, very best to ever do it in terms of comedy, man.
Yeah, you know they say it's the greatest jokes are always filtered with truth.
A lot of truth is said in jest, man. A lot of truth is said in jest. He goes on to deliver a piece about the 10 Commandments as he reduces them down to, I think, 1, maybe 2 commandments. Y'all got to check it out, man. But George Carlin it's comedy at its absolute best when George Carlin is on his game.
Yeah, man.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Hey,
I'm done with you.
We gotta move forward because
I'm gonna move on. Can you pull up the
Is Wiz for old folks will petition to get me out of here.
Can you? I'm gonna go to the other side of this thing because I think that there is a brother down in Jackson, Mississippi, who is living in the fullness of his godness within inside of him, right? He is completely tapped into it and he is living it in a real way. He happens to be my all-time favorite football player, and he is now the head coach of the Jackson State football team. Deion Sanders, BKA Primetime.
Must be the money.
Coach Prime
keeps me looking so cold.
Made his collegiate head coaching debut yesterday. Or was it Saturday? One of those days. I think it was yesterday, actually. And
best football rap record ever next to the bed Super Bowl Shuffle.
That's a low bar.
Super Bowl Shuffle was a classic record, though. This just has classic lines, though. Like when he says, must be the money. It keeps me looking so cold.
This is trash.
Must
trash.
be the money. This was a great record.
No, it wasn't. It was trash.
Yes, it was. It's classic music right here, man. This is classic material. This is like a Biggie album.
That's like a Biggie album. You won't stop with the blasphemy, will you? This is Blasphemous Mondays.
Okay, boys and men.
Right.
What we're not gonna do is continue the blasphemy. Okay?
Until the end of the road. That's how they sound. I know, right?
I'm personally offended. Y'all need to cut it out, man.
No, I know you're good.
Anyhow, man.
Pause.
Gee, like I can't. Like y'all are insufferable. Like what is the deal with y'all?
Man, get to the DI.
I'm effing trying. The hell is wrong with y'all, Skull? Why would you let like? Anyhow, Deion Sanders made his collegiate head coaching debut yesterday for the Jackson State Tigers. His Jackson State Tigers beat the brakes off of, I don't know, the South Shore high school football team. I don't know who they played yesterday.
Said. People say money won't change. It's going to change my address. It's going to change my bank account. It's going to change my wardrobe. That's a line from Song 2.
Y'all get on my nerves, man. I'm finna leave.
You got to learn to appreciate classic material, man. You'll hear lines like that every day.
You can't appreciate my precious, precious child. I love you and I would never leave you. When you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. But I got to appreciate this stupid
story.
shit.
It's a great story. Great story. I'd never deny the power of the story. The story is awesome. Awesome. Orators, authors, I fucking rock with them.
Are you done, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are done?
I was done early on.
You know how I know when I can be done taking you serious? You start chewing peanuts into the damn microphone. Okay? As soon as you start chewing peanuts into the microphone, I know that you're done with any thoughtful material that you have left for the day. God dang it, man. Frick. And now you got Esco with you. You know what?
That's when the Jerry curl was swinging.
That's okay. I got it.
So good.
Don't even worry about it, man. Let me do this. let me just
Blazer, no shirt.
Tell you how we gonna play this thing right
That's
here.
when he was leaving a baseball game to get to football games on the private flight, all in one day. You ready? You ready to go? I know I got no before. I'm ready.
Huh?
I'm ready.
We good?
I've been good.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, man. Anyhow, no, shout out to Prime. He did play in an NFL game and a Major League Baseball game in the same day.
Didn't he score in both of them?
I don't want to lie about
I thought
that.
he scored in both of them.
I don't want to lie about that. He hit a home run. I don't know if that was the same day though. I don't want to say he hit a home run and scored a touchdown in the same game.
I thought it was the same day.
I don't want to say he hit a home run and scored a touchdown the same day.
Let's look it up.
I don't know. Either way, he is my second favorite athlete of all time. Behind Michael Jordan. Primetime is that dude. And he's now the head coach for the 10th time at Jackson State University, where his Tigers on yesterday won his head coaching debut 53-0. They beat the brakes off of some school called Edward Waters College. Apparently that is in Jacksonville, Florida, and apparently it has a football team.
He became the only athlete to ever hit a home run and get a touchdown in the same event, same day.
In the same day? Or he's the only person who ever do those two things?
Oh, touchdown in the same 7-day period.
Right, in the same week he did it. He did play in a game. He did play in both leagues on the same day, though. But I don't think he hit the home run and scored a touchdown on both of those days. Prime is that dude, man. Prime is that dude. Like, natural athlete, that's what he is. Prime showed up to his NFL combine. You know, they do the combine where they run the 40. What now? What else are y'all into that I can't continue with the show? What?
Mythical Sky Daddy of Latter-day Saints. That's what they say. Ooh,
We all reckless.
That's gonna combine our stuff because I say Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints all the time. I can't help myself from saying that all the time.
Mythical Sky Daddy of Latter-day Saints.
All right, well,
We got to stop this. They really will.
Who is we?
You kept it going. I didn't keep it going. I didn't stop it. I've been stopped.
Who is we, white man? Like, what are you talking about? It's you and Scope. This is you and Scope.
Can we get to game day recap?
I'm trying my.
Can we know about Dion, please?
I'm trying my darndest to talk about Deion Sanders.
Focus,
won their
grasshopper.
game.
Focus, Padawan. Jesus Christ.
Better than Bo Jackson. Guards, please don't be disrespectful.
Hey, fuck Bo Jackson. I just want to say that for the record. You remember my Bo Jackson story?
No, but I know Guards is being disrespectful comparing him to Deion Sanders.
We were still doing the show in the kitchen. It was very disrespectful. I wonder what Bo Jackson's ass in O'Hare Airport.
If Bo Jackson hadn't run his hip right off his body, he could be in the conversation. It's not my fault that he did, just like it ain't Jay-Z's fault that Biggie died. You know, Deion kept going. Bo Jackson ain't in that conversation. Although he is one of the most naturally gifted athletes to ever walk the face of this planet. Baseball and football.
Pure jerk, though.
Sure. What do you do?
We're going to get to
Oh
the
my God,
Deion
what
story.
happened?
I don't want to, hold Herb up from getting to
Why not? Why do you want to hold? Why not hold up? Why not hold up another minute or two?
I know he's been trying.
Why not hold up another minute or
diligently
two?
to get to the
It's
ending
a
of this
safe
Deion
circle.
story.
Why not hold up another
Well,
minute?
since this is a safe space, I'm going to tell my truth.
Yeah, come on.
I was in O'Hare Airport circa 2000 and maybe, I don't know, 17, 18. Me, my wife, even my children. And I saw what I assumed to be was Bo Jackson.
Uh-huh.
I was unsure, though, because he didn't look like Bo of old. He looked like old Bo. And I was very unclear if it was Bo, because old Bo was skinny and small, but had a striking resemblance to Bo. And I said to my wife, I think that's Bo Jackson. And she said, who's Bo Jackson?
Who's Bo Jackson?
As we proceeded through security, I was standing near who I assumed to be Bo Jackson.
You were that close.
I was that close. And I was staring because I couldn't tell if it was Bo Jackson or my imagination. Then I took a shot in the dark and I said, maybe this is Bo Jackson. He didn't have the muscle mass anymore. Obviously, he's moved off the plantation.
God, why
So,
are you like this, bro?
I prayed the mythical Sky Daddy and said, oh God, let this be Bo. So I said, excuse me, sir, would you happen to be Bo Jackson? He looked at me and he said, yes, I am Bo Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
With the most arrogant glare that you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say, I just extended my hand and said, nice to meet you.
Great gesture.
Bo Jackson looked at my hand as if I had pushed AIDS into his face.
As though it was post-COVID.
Post-COVID. This was pre-COVID.
I know.
Right? So,
Clutch my pearls.
but Bo saw my hand, looked at my hand, did not touch my hand.
Oh.
Bo turned and walked away.
COVID protocol.
Effortlessly, as if I had never spoken to his name. And in internally, I said, hey, Mythical Sky Daddy, fuck Bo Jackson.
You're so brave.
and that was the end of my Bo Jackson experience. He was so disrespectful.
Yo, what is wrong with you?
Could you
man?
imagine extending your hand to shake somebody's hand and mock, look at you like, yeah, I'm cool.
Give me a tissue.
You know, I don't know how I would deal with that.
It was completely disrespectful, dog. I was like, oh, okay. Ooh, hit it with,
my hair.
Okay.
Nobody gets played on handshakes or high fives more than Steph Curry. Just like Google it, YouTube it. Like just YouTube Steph Curry getting played on high fives and handshakes. Since he's been in the league, no less than 10 times he's been super played on high fives. Like by his teammates though. You try to give his teammates a high five, they just don't see him or whatever. They play him. It's hilarious.
That's great, but Deion Sanders, please.
Please, right? Because I've been holding y'all up from getting to this.
You keep circling.
Clearly.
Ah.
Jesus Christ. Deion Sanders is the coach of Jackson State. They won a football game 53-0. They beat Edwards Waters yesterday, and Deion Sanders made his debut. Shout out to Deion Sanders. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I think he's going to be entrenched in the culture of Jackson, Mississippi. I think he's going to do a lot of great things for that university and for HBCUs as a whole and a collective. It is my personal opinion that he's going to be there forever. I don't think he's going to look for another job. He's not going to leave and go to say, I want to coach Florida next year. I want to coach Alabama. I think if the possibility arises for him to become the coach at Florida State University, his alma mater, he may very well consider that school because he went to Florida State. But other than that, I think that Deion Sanders will be the coach at Jackson State until he's not coaching anymore. I don't think he's trying to get to the NFL. I think he's trying to do anything else. I think he's trying to make an impact in that community. He's already made his footprint very well known down there. He's meeting with the families. He's going to people's houses for dinner. He's trying to increase the viability of that institution. The I love is what they say down there. Jackson State, the I love. He's constantly saying that, constantly putting them on. Deion Sanders being their coach has put them on the map, but I think as much as it's helping them, I think it's going to help HBCUs in general as more and more of the elite level athletes and prospects from high schools choose those schools over some of the major Power 5 conferences that we have seen. So shout out to Deion Sanders. I think he's absolutely walking in his God glory and doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Doing exactly what he's supposed to do right now. Somehow this morning when I was thinking about talking about this story seemed so much different.
Really?
And that was just like, let me just run through it and get it out because y'all
seemed different about it?
It seemed a little bit more powerful and significant.
Oh, okay.
Before y'all sucked all the air out of the room with y'all's foolishness.
I mean, once you got to talking about Mythical Sky Daddy, everything.
Once who got to talk about Mythical Sky Daddy? Me?
Yeah, you brought it up. That
Edward Waters College shouldn't be used a measuring stick for JSU football outlook. No, you're absolutely right. I'm not making.
Is there something attached to the video? Did I pull this up for a reason? No,
Forget
let
the
it
video.
ride.
Forget the video.
Okay.
Never.
I love the father.
Never mind the video, bro. I was gonna play a video that recapped Prime's day as his first head coach his first game.
Will Smith?
How dare you, Grover Washington?
Oh, this is the original.
Sir.
This ain't just me and you. Don't eat your peanuts, Phil. Eat your peanuts,
I'm
Phil.
gonna eat them anyway.
Eat your peanuts, Phil. Like, what?
You nut.
Nut ass nigga, man. That's you. You wallow. Okay? You wallow.
You feel salty yet?
Hey, you are wallow, man. God.
I'm glad that, his son came over because he was going to go somewhere else first, right?
Yeah, his son, he got two sons. One is like a elite quarterback prospect in high school, and another was already at South Carolina, and he came over there too. But they beat the brakes off this team. This team, they had no business on the field. This is NIA school. They had no business on the field with them. But he had to win his first game, right? So a lot of times you'll get, some of these like HBCUs or mid-majors, if you will, whatever it's going to be, and they'll play like LSU or something for their first game. Get smacked. It'll make a lot of money for the university, but they'll get smacked. Deion Sanders could not get whooped in his first game. They had to make sure they won this game. They needed to. They need to get off to a good start. Now, I'm not saying that football program is where it's ultimately going to be or anything like that, but certainly he's going to move it in the right direction. I'm not using yesterday's game as a declaration or an indication that they are going to be a really good football team this year or even next year. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know how they're going to be as a football team this year. Certainly they are not ready to compete with Power 5 schools yet. I'm just saying that it's a good thing that he's there, and I think he's going to do phenomenal things while he is there. That's all I want. That's really all I wanted to say. I was going to play the video, but I'm beyond that now.
Salute to Deion, man.
Yeah, Prime is definitely that dude, man. He getting that uniforms together, Prime. He's Prime.
So nice.
He's just Prime. He had a lot of.
He was a Nike athlete, right?
Prime was Nike. Yeah, the Deion Sanders were Nike shoes. The Deion Sanders shoes was cold too. I had a few of them joints. It was cold. They look very similar to the Barry Sanders, ironically, which were also Nikes, but
so I wonder.
Cold.
Right? I wonder, right? Let's leverage Deion being a Nike cat, him being able to galvanize, let's say, some top-tier recruits. Mm-hmm. Where's he at, Jackson State?
Jackson State.
How does that change the dynamic of
Jackson State University, or HBCUs in general. Because when you think about it, right, that's what does success look like.
Mm-hmm.
If he is successful, he is able to recruit top-tier kids.
Sure.
He is able to leverage his influence to get those kids there. Then that'll leverage the influence of the television cameras as well as the shoe company.
I watched them on ESPN yesterday. I've never seen a Jackson State football game on ESPN.
Right. So, but what happens once that leverage comes? Once that access comes, once that information comes, how does that change the HBCU experience?
You mean it becomes just like the white institutions?
In a lot of ways, you know what I mean? Whoever pays for it creates the rules. You ever think about that in the long run? Like, how does that shift the HBCU experience? Like, think about going to an HBCU game, right, versus going to a Michigan game, right? You ain't getting in no goddamn Michigan game. You got to buy season tickets 10 years ago to get into a Michigan game. You understand what I'm saying? HBCU game, you can walk up to that, halftime and be good money.
Shout out to my homeboy Antonio James, man. He was a defensive assistant at Michigan. He played football at U of I, but he was a defensive assistant at Michigan, and now he's actually the defensive coordinator at Morgan State in Baltimore, HBCU.
Where T went?
Where T went? Exactly. Where T went.
My cousin Brooke, everybody shout out.
So he was like, man, come down. They had some pretty good. Well, they always got some pretty good teams in Michigan. So I got to go, big house and watch them play there.
It's a different thing.
That is a thing. 110,000 people.
It's a different thing.
It's a thing, dog. Like that is a different type of thing. I think for HBCUs, ultimately, I would just like to see the I would just like to see some of those the dollars, the ad dollars that come through those PDIs, those predominantly white PWIs, those predominantly white institutions. I would like to see some of those dollars come to the HBCUs. And, the ad dollars that come to Alabama, they don't control what Nick Saban does at that school. You know what I mean? It's just that I
think we'd be confused if we think that the ad dollars that come to Alabama don't dictate a lot of the culture of Alabama's regular schooling. I bet you $1 to a dime they do. I bet you they do. I bet you they affect that experience.
I think they affect the experience because the money matters.
Absolutely.
Who wants Sky
But
Daddy,
just in terms of them dictating what takes place, I don't know. What did she say about Sky Daddy again?
She said, who on Sky Daddy?
On Sky Daddy.
On Sky Daddy.
I swear to Sky Daddy. On Sky Daddy.
On Sky Daddy. No, but so listen, this goes back to the conversation we was having when we did the book club, right? Remember we was doing book club?
Yep.
And everybody was talking about the miseducation and how the Negro got it all the way wrong, right? And then there was a moment in the conversation when I stopped and I said, well, even if we look at the context of the conversation we having here, every time we come to an answer, it revolves around capital. And if it revolves around capital, then when you leave them in control, it's still a miseducation. When we look at Dion, if he's successful, it really just leads to more capital. I mean, at its core, that's what it's about, capital, right? The kids that ain't coming there because of capital. If I go XYZ, I got a better chance of making money. That's the only reason I ain't going to Jackson State in the first place. You know what I mean? It ain't about Jackson State. I could care less. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm trying to go, this is my career path, right? So if capital is always the end goal, what changes? What's the significance of him doing it at Jackson State or him doing it or not doing it at all? It just adds more capital to the conversation at Jackson State. But what does capital how does it usually reflect in our community? Right? We just had a conversation about Herschel Walker being on the stage at the damn congressional hearing. Right? Well, black capital put him there.
They driving that Texas truck to black people?
I would think so,
or just
because
people?
we black people. And they black people putting it together on the grounds. I would assume so. I don't know.
Just popped in my mouth. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think it's a conversation worth having. Yeah. I don't want it going. I mean, I know this sounds harsh, but I'm not concerned.
It don't sound harsh. I don't want any of these dollars that we raised for our ancestors.
And shout out to those who
to be going to white people without power.
Shout out to those who sent us some more cash just a minute ago. I know our double sent us a dub and somebody else sent us some money. Let me see.
Really, just now?
For that reason. But that's a conversation we needed. We need answers.
All right. Well, what's today's the 22nd? We got 6 more days in this month. By the end of the week.
We're gonna jump on that one though. We got 2 days, so we got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's Y'all, if that's what y'all want to do, then I won't.
I wrote down on Audrey since it's 20 and 25.
If that's what y'all want to do, I won't argue against it. That ain't.
But
that
those
ain't
are
my
questions
choice.
we need to ask and answer, right? So Bueller says the theory of more capital means more students can have access, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying what's the difference, right? What happens? What changes? What's the HBCU experience? In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, but part of the value of that experience is that it's kind of a niche kind of experience, right? If you're not black per se, not even per se, if you're not in that kind of cultural understanding, you're not interested in going, it's kind of left alone. Nobody cares what you're doing over there, which in turn allows you room to create a culture. Right? There's a culture around the bands at football games, HBCUs. Nobody comes to see the football players, but the bands are celebrities.
That's an option too, Howard. They don't all have to go to one place. We'll figure it out over the next couple of days.
Okay. I understand. But the bands become part of the culture, right? Fraternity life becomes, fraternity and sorority life becomes a culture. You go down to Atlanta, you in the AUC, the whole relationship between all those schools is a certain kind of a culture. You know what I mean? It's a thing unto itself. Right, you get the graduates coming back and having relationships with the schools. They don't spend no money, but they have relationships with the school where they frequent the school often and build relationships with the kids through those manners and means. I just want to know what changes because I think once the money comes in, it's not HBCU no more. Not in the traditional sense of how we see HBCUs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends, right? So I think that when you talk about these advertising dollars, I think that they're just making an investment, right? It's not an investment into the school. It is an investment for themselves, right? I'm going to put out an X amount of dollars because I know that if I put an X amount of dollars out, I can expect X amount of dollars to come back in because I paid $1 million to have a commercial at the Alabama LSU game. 50 million people going to watch the Alabama LSU game. I'm good, right? I'm going to get my money back off of those 50 million people seeing my ad and then going to buy my shit. You know what I'm saying? That is the trade-off there, right? That's the investment that then comes back. So I'm not saying, I don't know they're like saying, hey, we sent y'all ad dollars, so y'all need to implement this into your curriculum. Or y'all need to implement this into your campus policies.
Maybe not curriculum per se, but think about Oregon. Oregon is it is the flagship.
Yeah, Phil Knight went there. It's Phil Knight's alma mater. They make sure everything's Nike.
Right, everything's Nike. Right,
Textbooks say Nike.
It's the Nike experience. Right, so you go into the Oregon locker rooms, and it's better than I would almost argue the vast majority of NFL locker rooms.
Sure, no doubt.
Right, and that's partially how they sell the school. Right, the uniforms, the J's. Like I've been trying to get some Oregon Ducks, the number 3s, Jordans forever, and I can't get them. It's just they almost like you can't find them. Right, but it changes the experience, right? So to assume that Nike doesn't have an imprint on that school is foolish. What does the Nike imprint on a Jackson State look like? And does that imprint change the experience of going to Jackson State? Does that imprint change the experience of a Howard or a Morehouse or you know what I mean? Because it's going to change. Like imagine Michigan without Michigan football.
Not the same thing.
Who would give a shit about Michigan?
You would know it was a thing.
You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't know it was a thing. You know what I mean?
Which is another conversation that the Bigs was having on the soil today. It was talking about Juwan Howard and the fact that he's the head coach now, and Michigan's the number 3 team in the nation right now. When a lot of people were like critical of that particular hire, although it made all the sense in the world. First of all, he went there. Second of all, the Fab Five is still the most famous thing to ever come out of the Michigan basketball program, right? And he was the reason that the Fab Five came together, and he's doing a phenomenal job. And he did the groundwork. He was an NBA assistant for a long time. He didn't just get the job because he's Juwan Howard, right? He put a lot of time in as an NBA assistant before he even got that job. And, they're doing well. So
the man put the 5-5 together.
Right.
Whatever he did as a coach in NBA, that shouldn't even be relevant. Like, that's the only valid
That is Michigan basketball.
That is Michigan basketball.
The Fab Five is Michigan
Matter
basketball.
of fact, in the larger context of the conversation, that's probably like NCAA basketball. It's like four of those teams that exist.
The game. They changed the game.
It's like 4 of those teams in totality.
The Fab Five changed the game. Everything from the baggy shorts. They were first to do that. Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and the Jackson. What was the first name? Ray Jackson. Like, they were the first to really change the game like that with the big shorts. They wore the black shoes and the black socks.
Kind of bit off UNLV. And if you talk to them, I just watched Chris Webber the other
Greg
day.
Anthony and them had some little shorts though.
I was just watching.
Larry Johnson and them had some little shorts.
I was watching Chris Webber the other day, and he said people think we stole most of this from UNLV, and he was like, it is some viability there. He said, but low key,
Stacey Augman was a G though.
he was like, but low key, who we was watching was U of I. And we talking about
The
Kendall
Flying
Gill,
Illini.
the Flying Illini.
Flying
Illini.
Illini. Nick Anderson.
U of I, Nick Anderson.
Kendall Gill.
Yeah. Marcus Liberty.
Yeah.
All them Chicago Simeon boys. You know what I mean?
Which Juwan Howard grew up
Which
watching.
was the joint. They was probably guys the nuke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They was the joint.
Yeah.
He was like, they had longer shorts too. Nobody really knows. They wasn't as long as ours.
Yeah.
He was like, and the only reason people don't know, the only reason was ours was so long. When you think about basketball shorts, he's like, what we did was we went to the seniors, the cats who wasn't really getting no rock, who wasn't playing, and they all had the 44 longs. He was like senior big men.
Mm-hmm.
Which was not even, they wasn't big size shorts. They were just big
On them. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he
Yeah,
was
they
like-
didn't make shorts that came to your knees.
So he was like, we just traded them out. We got all the 44 longs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was like, we was really watching the front Flying Illini.
It's funny how everything changes. Now you got the young athletes,
Oh,
high school and college.
Gee,
They want to wear
my son
coochie
be
cutters.
embarrassing me, dog. I don't understand it.
Like why y'all want to? Why y'all want to wear
You
coochie
gotta
cutters?
have movement. You gotta have room, you know?
No, that would seem like you couldn't move.
It's better function.
No, it's not. It's biker shorts.
My auntie used to sit and watch the games. I don't know if my auntie Donna hopped in here today or not, but she used to sit and watch all the games, football games, baseball games. She said that she'd sit on the TV and she'd grow up on the TV like this. Ooh, look at his booty. And just rub on the TV like that. Like all the time.
Is there a problem with that? I don't.
Not for women.
Why you think I got 75?
Not for
inch?
women.
Like,
Not for women. Let your uncle do that to Serena while she playing tennis. He gonna be all kind of creeps and
hey.
you know what I'm saying? Like coochie cutters. That was the term we used to use. Y'all use the term coochie cutters.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, man. My son be doing that. I'd be like, dog, you embarrassing me. Gee, this dude, this is my child. My child legitimately has a pair of shorts that he wears today that he won a championship in that he was 7 years old.
You know how I know you
That man is 15 and wears some shorts that he had since he was 7.
Hey, man.
I be trying to throw the stuff away. He be like, those are my good shorts.
Those is good ones.
Hey, I have a dress trying to fit in for a while. Decade ago.
Here y'all go.
One day.
I ain't with it.
Here y'all go.
I ain't with it.
It's the gray sweats for me.
I ain't
All
with
right,
it.
Candace. Gray sweats and J's. That is the uniform.
It's corny.
Anybody shows up to you wearing gray sweats and J's,
Nigga, Audrey talking about she like your auntie. This is a whole room
they
full of
came for that.
perverts.
That's because women get to be that.
Just pervert.
Women get to be that. They rapey.
I rapist.
They're very rapey.
I'm very rapey.
Very, very rapey.
The one time we can sexualize men.
The one time. This is what y'all do.
This is what you do.
This is what y'all do.
I'm highly offended.
This is what y'all do. Y'all don't care. Hey, you want to go out to eat? No, I don't want to go to eat. You know what I'm coming for. I'm coming to be a creep. I'm coming for that action. I'm gonna show up in gray sweats and J's. Really? Dressed like a whole nigga.
Dressed like a slut.
Came to bust me down. What is going on? Let me stop. I'm just being serious.
Hey.
What?
You hear about this Tennessee bill that allows fathers to seek court injunctions to prevent abortions?
Wait, come again?
Yeah, that's deep, ain't it?
Now, what did it say?
Tennessee bill that would allow fathers to seek court injunctions to prevent abortions. So you couldn't even have an abortion unless daddy say so. Which changes the game in regards to it's my body, my decision.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's wonderful. Because it changes the transaction.
Let me ask you this. Because I see where you're going in the big picture, and I'm going to follow you there, and I'm cool with it. Yes, say guilty. Like, only women can say that, G. Only women can say rapist, guilty as fuck.
Right.
Like only women can do that. Like, y'all.
That's almost bad as me saying Sky Daddy. There's a lot of trouble with just these kind of words.
Only women can do that, man. I follow you on that, right? And I think I know where you're trying to go with this on the big picture piece. But let me ask you this: Have you ever heard of a brother coming to you like, man, bro,
I want to keep the baby?
not that I don't want to keep not that I want to keep the baby. Have you ever heard of a brother come to you like, yo, you know, my lady is pregnant, or whoever person I had sex with is pregnant, she want to get an abortion. I'm trying to keep it. I'm pissed. Have you ever had that conversation?
I can't say I've had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I've had conversations with women who had not with women, about women who've had abortions unbeknownst to the guy that was involved at all. And he not find out till later, and it was an issue.
Were there other circumstances around that, or was
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It ain't my situation. I just heard of situations like that.
Okay. No, I follow what you're saying on that piece. Now, if they put that in, right, and then they pass it, and now you got to get the father's permission.
I don't know the father.
Right, that's the loophole.
Look at Esco.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
the cousin be like, okay, you're the baby.
Like he ain't even the daddy.
That's fine.
It mean anybody can stop your abortion.
That's fine until he finds out.
No, I'm saying anybody can stop your abortion.
No, I'm sure they could do, and I'm sure there would have to be DNA testing, which you could do while the baby's in the womb. I'm still sure you could do that.
How long I got to carry this baby? Because this fool lying.
I don't know.
I don't even know, dude.
I'm not getting into the intricacies of the bill. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, how, you know what I'm saying, why it's a thing. And then even further than that, right? Even further than somebody lying and saying, hey, I the pappy, that there my baby, right? If he want the baby and she don't, all right, cool. You want the baby, fam? I'll carry it for you. 9 months, this is your baby, fam. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Can the mother then be excused from her parental responsibilities?
I'm reading. It says, so within 14 days of the petition being filed, the court will hold a hearing with both parties present. The court would issue an injunction if the person who filed for the petition proves they are the biological father of the unborn child and there's reasonable probability that the mother will seek an abortion. The father would not be required to provide DNA evidence proving he is the father.
So all I gotta do is show with a couple text messages and some nudes. Look, Your Honor, she sent me news yesterday. I said I was coming over there to beat the Dooney. She said, come on. Now she got to keep this baby.
And you stuck with that baby.
Otherwise, she going to jail?
Hey, man. Violating the injunction will result in a court holding the mother in a civil or criminal court contempt and will punish the respondent in accordance with the law. All I'm saying is
Mimi Michelle says, does it include rapists?
I don't know. All I'm saying is this.
A lot of those staunch pro-life people don't care about it being rape or not.
It changes the conversation, though. Right? Because
sure it does.
Now a man has some say in how this is going to play out one way or the other, right? So when you get those situations where it's like somebody setting you up, or you might be a high-profile person and somebody's setting you up with, I might have a baby, I need this abortion money, or I might be pregnant, I need to, if you want me to, okay. Let's go figure it out. And if you bullshitting me, that's $1 for my curse fund. I acknowledge that one because I said it.
Sure.
Right? If you BSing me, you going to jail, fam.
You going to jail.
You going to jail. I think it changes the game.
Why do you think it changed the game on that end?
Because it allows the man some level of power in the conversation. And men have no power in that conversation.
Yeah.
My body, my rules, or my body, my experience, my body,
I had a pappy. Yeah, I don't definitely rest in peace to the Mac Man.
It changes the game. There's no way around it changing the game.
For sure it changed the game. I don't know that it flips it to that side of it.
I'm not saying nobody's in favor. No one is in favor now. Now it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was a losing effort. Now it's a game. And I hate it has to be like that, but we live in such a transactional state. It's almost like the T.I. Tiny conversation. You can have whatever opinion you want. But after a while, goes over here 5, 6, 7 times. The one story that you was reading is like, she said we had to do cocaine to come in the door, so we put the cocaine in our mouth and then spit it out.
Right.
Come on, fam.
Right.
It's too much gray area.
Shannon raises a good point about more gray area in this thing, which I think is just too much to be held up on this thing. But Shannon says it's going to be a whole lot of rape cases, right? We had consensual sex. You got pregnant behind it. You want an abortion. I don't want you to abort my child. I'm going to court.
It's Tennessee, man. Hey, it's still Tennessee.
He took it. He took the box.
Yeah, I'm not with that, but that's happened already. I know there's been injunctions already where rapists have been able to push people to have full-term babies. I know that. That's happened already.
No, I know.
I don't know the specific state.
And the pro-life people be all about it. Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
So Bueller's on here. Buellering. It's about, how about men choose better? Well, unless it's a rape case.
Oh, wait a minute now.
The sister's choosing with them.
Wait a minute now. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. If we're gonna do that, Bill, let's be
Choose
fair.
who you lay with. Men always have the power in that sense. Now, if I remember correctly, 2-3 days ago, there was women on here talking about women choose who they have sex with.
Yeah, let's be fair now. Like
I'm so confused.
Let's be fair, because I disagree with you too.
I'm not even being disagreeable. I'm saying what the case says.
Okay, but we gotta keep it a buck on this thing if we're gonna talk about it, because everybody's choosing who they lay down with, right? So even when women are talking about pro-choice or if they talking about pro-life, they made a choice too.
Sometimes the alcohol chooses.
Yeah, alcohol is,
or the drugs, and in the vein of drugs.
But I think drunken mind, sober thoughts. I subscribe to that theory that drunken mind speaks sober thoughts. I've never once did something while I was drunk that I did not want to do. Not one time. Now, I've done a lot of things while I was drunk that I would not have done if I weren't drunk. But that's not the same thing. Just because I would not have done it sober don't mean I didn't want to do it. The liquid courage was just like, go ahead and do it, fam. I ain't never done nothing drunk that I didn't want to do. Like, even stuff I was like, let me apologize for that. Like, if I went off on somebody when I was drunk. Yeah, when I was sober, I probably wouldn't have went off on you. But whatever I went off on you about, I kind of wanted to go off on you in that moment. Like, I don't know why. Like, even if I was completely tweaking, I could have been wrong for what I was thinking. But it wasn't like the alcohol was like, hey, do this thing that you don't have any desire to do. You are such a hater. I love it, though.
So the other day, Carl Hart,
Boyz II Men is the best,
a Columbia University professor, came out and says he regularly does heroin for work-life balance.
Wait, what?
Bold is for your shoulders.
Bold is for your shoulders.
He says he regularly does heroin.
A Columbia University professor.
For work-life balance. He's a professor of psychology and neuroscience. He chairs the psych department and has a fondness for heroin. Think about how they wrote that. He said he has a fondness
for heroin.
That's some powerful stuff to say.
He doesn't do heroin.
Is he
He's
the
of
teachings of the Chinese?
He doesn't do heroin.
And he's of the Negro persuasion.
He doesn't do heroin.
He does heroin. And
he does not
MD, he does Molly. No, he does heroin. He does. He says nothing better in life than a tuna line by the fireplace. He says it in the article.
I don't care what he says. He does not do heroin.
At 54, the married father of 3 has snorted small amounts of heroin for as many as 10 days in a row and enjoyed it mightily, is what the article says.
Snorting heroin?
Snorting heroin.
Okay.
Even if, as he recalls in his new book, Drug Use for Grown-Ups, Chasing Liberty in the Land of Fear. This is too much for me. The man has a fondness for heroin. He's experienced mild withdrawal syndromes from 12 to 16
heroin. Smack.
The last dose.
White girl. Shout out to Kevin Hart. I hear you, R double.
As Hart sees it, the discomfort is worth the trade-off. There aren't many things in life that I enjoy more than a few lines by the fireplace. This is the article.
There's no way.
He says there aren't very many things in life that I enjoy more than a few lines by the fireplace at the end of the day. He writes, pointing out that his experience leaves him refreshed and prepared to face another day.
Candace said he was in a documentary on Netflix about coke.
Yeah, he says nothing better in life than the few lines by the fireplace.
Few lines of coke and doing heroin, different thing.
Yeah, he said
he is not a heroin addict.
Hart, who studies the effects of psychoactive drugs in humans, finds his use of the narcotic to be as rational as my alcohol use, like vacation, sex, and the arts. Heroin is one of the tools that I use to maintain my work-life balance. A fondness for heroin.
Vacation, sex, cocktail, even if you do lines. Heroin is a different drug. Okay? Once you become addicted to heroin, it is a different thing. You don't just do heroin when you feel like it. I'll do heroin whenever I feel like it. No, you smoke weed when you feel like it.
Unless you have a fondness for heroin.
Right. If you have a fondness for heroin, you are now a heroin addict, and heroin
You're not an addict.
is
you
at
just
the
have a
forefront.
You're not an addict.
It's
You
at the
just have a
forefront
fondness.
of every decision that you make.
It's not an addiction. It's
God,
a fondness. Jesus, Herb.
Stop attacking people.
Words are important.
I'm not rocking with y'all anymore, man. I'm not rocking with y'all anymore. Like, I'm not gonna be here with y'all next Monday.
Says when he's out of heroin, he does Molly.
I'm not gonna be here with y'all next Monday. You and
I'll
Sco
bring
know
the
how to-
heroin next Monday.
Good. You and Sco do heroin. You and Sco do heroin and Molly next Monday. I won't be here.
Joe does.
Y'all get on my nerve. You know, I literally won't be here next Monday. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking of it.
Yeah. He definitely puts coke in his pee hole.
Something's wrong with y'all, man. What? Like what?
It's not me. I'm just reading the headlines.
It's academia.
It's academia. That's right. He has a book, goddammit.
It's data-driven
What's really bothering me about this is he's releasing his book on heroin, and I've not released my book sober yet. It bothers me.
Speak.
It bothers me.
Now you know the missing ingredient.
I need some heroin.
Let's make it stop on the way back south.
Obviously, it's heroin that I need.
Let's make it stop on the way back south.
I know how to get my own heroin. I don't need your heroin.
I have a cousin or two.
I trust my heroin people.
You got you.
It's so hard to find a good heroin connect. I gotta tell you. Hasn't been the same since the early 2000s.
It's so ignorant. Oh my God, this is ignorant.
I don't have nothing for y'all on this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, Joe.
Just you and Sco just took me out since 5 o'clock. You and Sco just took me completely out of this thing. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Why do y'all think this? Why do y'all think this behavior is okay? I wanted to talk about Deion Sanders.
We talked about him.
You're not going to talk about Cam Newton.
Jim talked about him. Either way it goes, we're covering all the subjects. I'm just saying.
I don't.
Hey
man, listen.
Does
sometimes.
What's wrong? Wait, do I get this wrong?
What you got a lot of things wrong today.
It's got to be wrong, right?
Yeah, that's incorrect. Something's wrong with your screen. You're just missing the number. Sometimes this show goes a little bit over, and sometimes we'll sign off at 6:03.
Think about it though. It's usually you.
It's going over, or just that's out of hand.
That's out of hand.
No, it's not. It's never me.
It's not okay. It's usually me. You're right.
Yes, it's never me, fam. It's never ever me. It is always you.
Yeah.
Listen, family. Today I don't have anything else left to talk about with you wonderful people. So I'll tell y'all like this here. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this Monday edition of I Said What I Said.
Wait a minute, you're not gonna be here Monday?
I'm not gonna be here Friday or Monday. I might not even be here Thursday.
So you getting disrespectful and deserve a mouth shot at this point. We've had this discussion.
Was something I said?
I got some things to do.
Nah, that's fine. We got some things to do too.
It's for the team.
No, you're abandoning the team in this moment.
You literally told me.
No, I said Friday.
I'll be on the show.
Oh God.
I'll be on the show. I'll probably be virtual on Thursday and Friday and I think Monday too.
Yeah.
But I'll be here. You know what I'm saying? We
Okay.
can see if we can get Keish to come in here and hang out with you.
No, I'm not doing that.
So watch y'all fight all the time. Y'all can't fight when I can't referee.
I'm not gonna do that.
Y'all is ignorant. But anyway, we'll get that thing together. Anyway, man, thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to hang out with us here on this Monday. I hope y'all are doing well out there. We appreciate y'all as always, man. I'm to all of my Bible bangers, I apologize for my brother,
Ain't no reason to apologize for me. It's what I believe, not what they. I don't knock your hustle. If you believe in it,
I'm not even
faith in anything is progressive. So
I'm not
if
even
you
a
have
Bible banker.
faith
I'm
in
just
Mythical
playing.
Sky Daddy, I support you 100%.
If you have, they don't have faith in Mythical Sky. How can you act like you're serious and then say mythical?
I'm so scared. I'm so serious though. I don't know why it sounds strange when I say it. You just heard George Carlin say it.
It's hilarious. What do you mean?
It's just a story. Why not believe in Mythical Sky Daddy? It's a great story.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Are you mad at me? Because I can read between the lines.
So please add that into the lexicon of I Said What I Said isms. Put it right next to Neely Fuller and fully understanding white supremacy. It came with my ass though.
Mythical Sky Daddy.
Mythical Sky Daddy. Test your work. What else we got? What else are we putting in intellectual thuggery? Put up Mythical Sky Daddy. Just add that to the list of things that are isms. Mythical Sky Daddy. Y'all need help. I'm gonna pray for y'all. To the Mythical Sky Daddy, I'm gonna pray.
Hey, Shep, do my screen. When we go out, I want to play this video.
Cool, man. We're gonna get that done. We got to bounce though, man. Let me say to this to y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming and hanging out with us on this here Monday. Make sure y'all get up real early tomorrow for the Maze Jackson Show. Stick around for the Book of Dawn. Dawn and Mr. Millhouse were down in somewhere. They were somewhere doing the Book of Dawn today. And, we were talking about Millhouse Engineering. And if you want to be a part of Millhouse Engineering, then I think that's absolutely what you should be doing. But they were remote today. But make sure y'all catch the Book of Dawn tomorrow. That will be just ahead of Minding Our Own Black Business with Tennille. And then we'll be on the green side of things with Sadiq and Cassie.
Yeah, I got to do this for 9 hours by myself, dog.
No, you're not going to have to.
I'm definitely going to be shooting some heroin.
Yeah.
It's me and you Monday, so.
I'll be here with you. I'll just be on the screen.
This is so disrespectful.
I'll be on the. I'll be.
You know I don't like doing this by myself.
I'll be in the sky.
You know I don't like coming in here with this you in it.
Well, on that note.
Y'all check out everybody, man. We gotta go. Thank y'all so much.
We got a record. Let's just
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all back here tomorrow, same time, same place at 3 p.m. For Sonia Escobar and for Toussaint Werner. My name is Herb Howard. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Until then, y'all be good to each other.
Share my screen. Salam alaikum.
I'm gonna share your screen.
I stay 10 toes in my city, I'm the man. I got a plan to fix the world by showing who I am. They don't teach us about the history in school, so I'm standing with my fist up. Together we can go and fix the system. They hurt us and kill us, and after that just put a big, gotta fix us. Black on black crime is something that doesn't fit us. Don't understand what we go through. They say pride is what we supposed to. And let's get loud and black and proud like we supposed to. Turn a jewel to a gym, that's what we're gon' do. Accept our knowledge, let's go to college, yeah, let's come through. Success is a mind game, we learning how to play it. 1 minute could have everything, another they can take. All this work I put in, you know I'm trying to be the greatest. Wisdom is power, let's come together and form a nation.
Shout out to nephew on that, man. That's a dope piece. Peace, y'all.